man on this force will rest for 1 minute and they'll leave behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. Let's have a listen. What does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That will be me, Mike Winters. Happy UFO Festival Friday, everybody.
Yes. I don't have my bell, and I realized here and now that I don't have my bell, and I wish I could be ringing it.
You are sans bell, but we've gained an entire building of new stuff. Yes, we are.
And look at all this stuff we acquired.
So many bells and whistles.
All right.
So many distractions.
Like we get to take any of it with us.
Yeah, we get none of it, but
That's really cool.
but we are here broadcasting live from here at the UFO Museum, where we are. We're here for day 2.
Yes.
Of our. I think I turned the wrong mic on. That's probably why. There it is. Yeah. So you're hearing him. Yeah, you'll get him in a second.
I can shout.
You'll get him in a second. I turned on the wrong
If you
mic.
hear him, you will be able to hear me if this mic isn't on.
That's right.
I'll project. Look at the echo.
Sean's got pipes.
That's right.
But, yes, we are here at the International UFO Museum, where it is day 1, officially, of the UFO Festival here in beautiful downtown Roswell, New Mexico.
That's right, Mikey.
And, actually, it's the calm before the storm.
Right now
We are here in the museum. Officially, we'll open at 0800, 8 o'clock this morning
8
here.
o'clock.
There is a eye of the hurricane feel in here.
A real hum.
Where it's quiet, but you see employees scrambling from here and to and fro, getting ready for the big day here today.
There were a lot more smiles yesterday. Today it's kind of like game face.
Yeah, it's like serious today.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, yesterday they're like, practice today. It's like, all right, everyone's kind of like game on, and we got a festival to put on here. And
the check kite and lights. This is it, the night of nights.
So everything is geared up and getting ready here. And it all gets underway here. Like I said, the museum will open up at 8 o'clock this morning. But as far as the panels and all of that stuff, that's going to be getting underway here this morning as well. Just some of the stuff going on here at the UFO Museum, some of the panel speakers, things like that. Over in the North Library, which, by the way, you're going to want to make sure you're at the North Library tonight, beginning at 8 p.m. Clyde Lewis, Ground Zero, Night 2 from here in Roswell, New Mexico. He will be doing his show out there. Last night they did the show from the garden there, right outside the UFO Museum.
That was a great show too.
And it was they had a great show last night and had the local flair. As Roswell was definitely the spotlight of last night's Clyde Lewis Ground Zero show here. But they'll be back for Night 2. At the North Library tonight, and that's beginning at 8 p.m., 8 to 11 tonight. But there is a plethora of events happening before then. Just in that North Library at 10 o'clock this morning from 10 to 11:30, Roswell's Dennis Balthaser will be here. He's going to be doing Scrutinizing Roswell, Area 51, Underground Bases, and the Pyramids of Giza. Are they connected? Dennis thinks so.
I've seen and heard some things.
I heard through the grapevine.
That's right. The Egyptian grapevine.
That's right.
I'm connected.
You're connected?
Some weird networks, Mike.
The Egyptian
I
grapevine?
don't even know, dude. I'm on some
I thought
weird...
there was more like a hops vine.
You remember news groups? They're still a thing. I'm there.
Okay.
That's right.
He's on his AOL news group.
Israeli Egyptian pyramid enthusiasts.
Ah.
Oh, let's not bring the Israelites into this.
so many questions, but I got more things to do.
You really do.
And then at noon in the North Library, Larry Holcomb and his panel disclosure, Be Careful What You Wish For. Ooh. I wish for a lot of things.
Well, the info's out now, and all of a sudden maybe it's more than we wanted to know.
At 2 o'clock in that room, Don Burleson, some classic UFO cases, Lovick, Leveland, Socorro, and Holloman, all local ones. Ooh. And then at 4 o'clock, James Clarkson, Women and UFOs, The Psychic and the Detective. And then, of course, Ground Zero at 8 o'clock tonight. In the iUFO MRC video room, Don Schmidt's going to be doing mini lectures at 9:30 this morning there. Tom Carey's doing a mini lecture there at 1 o'clock. And then in the different meeting rooms, they've got various panel speakers, folks that everything from government secret panels hosted by Brian Bender, Travis Walton. He's going to be doing some panels out here. Of course, many might remember him. He's the gentleman that was the subject of the movie Fire in the Sky.
Yep.
He was abducted. He was a logger up in Arizona, and they were up in the Arizona wilderness, and apparently they saw something glowing, and they said, "Hey, what's that?" And they stopped and looked. Travis got out while everyone else said, "What are you doing, man?" And he got sucked up. And then the guys freaked out and went back to town and said Travis got sucked up, and he was missing for 4 days. They were about to charge those other guys with murder.
Yeah.
And when he turned up out of nowhere, out of something like 3 days later, and then everyone's like, "Where you been?" And then the what happened ensued. But there's some interesting stuff with Travis. But he's going to be here. Yvonne Smith, another person that's always part of the UFO Festival, that's going to be going on. So Kathleen Martin, she's going to be doing various panels. She's an author and UFOologist, one of the kind of the top tier, upper echelon of in the UFOology world here. Kind of right in there with Don Schmidt, and then and of course Stanton Friedman, who's just passed away a couple years ago. Him and Kathleen Martin's right in that that upper echelon there. But yeah, that's all going on here, and this is just the UFO festival, or the actual UFO museum side of it here. Of course, Main Street Roswell's got everything going on downtown. The courthouse lawn's going to be filled with activities.
Closed from 4th and between 4th and 6th Street. The blocks on Main Street are closed, and it's closed from a block on either direction, so to Richardson and to Virginia.
Not on Main Street. Main Street's
open.
Yes,
but the blocks from
those 3rd,
Richardson
4th Street
to Main Street are closed.
4th Street, 5th Street, those side streets are closed.
Yeah.
Richardson, but Main Street is open. Courthouse lawn's going to be filled with stuff out here. Of course, the
Pioneer Plaza,
the of course Convention and Civic Center is going to have a slew of things. Your best bet to see where everything UFO Festival related is going on is the official UFOfestival.com website. There you can see not only the schedule, what's happening here at the UFO Museum, but what's going on through Main Street, through the city, through other things and events, like stuff going on at Planetarium and so forth.
Yeah, all the
so
laser
on.
shows, all the they're going to be doing retro movies all weekend. So the schedule of that's going to be at UFOfestival.com, and don't forget to download the See Roswell app as well.
What do they define as retro movie? Like,
so I saw some of the lists.
Where's the cutoff here?
I saw the it's obvious. You're thinking like 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So I think
I just don't know, like things in my head
Attack
that I
of
don't think
Killer
are
Tomatoes.
old. People think are old.
Well, let's
now.
solve this right now and go to UFOfestival.com. See what we did there?
Yeah. See?
This is utilizing the information.
Message. But so while he's doing that, I do have to thank one other fine group of people, fine folks at McDonald's, as
Absolutely.
they do each and every Friday. Even when we're out and about at the UFO Museum, they provide us with delicious breakfast treats. We got a sack of sandwiches, courtesy of the fine folks at McDonald's here today. I got my tea. All is right in the world once again, and I even procured some sweet and low. I didn't get. I usually put my sweet and lows in my tea for the morning, and so I was like, "Hey, do they got the coffee break room here?" And so they're like, "Yeah, it's upstairs." So I got led upstairs, and I'm going all through the coffee break room. They got everything but. I mean, they got like soups and cans of things.
Is there coffee?
Except coffee. But explain. So I'm like, well, all right, I guess I'll drink my tea, au natural today. And then I said, I want to go see the old projection booth where we used to do the show when we do the show from here. We've done the show in this building during UFO Festival quite a few times. Years prior, they pre-COVID world, they had us actually up in. For folks that don't know, this building used to be an old movie theater, where the museum is, and they would actually have us do the show where one of the projection rooms were back when it was a theater, and so we were sitting high above. And we could look out this window and kind of watch over the museum. And we see people meandering about and going through there, but they really couldn't see us. So anyway, I was like, well, I want to go check that out. And then as I was going through there, Chris and I were going through, and all of a sudden, sitting on the 1940s desk there in the corner
right there.
was a gelatinous restaurant-sized box of Sweet Low sitting wide open with hundreds of packets of Sweet Low. I said, that's a sign. So I went and got my two, and then we proceeded to have my sweet tea now. So thank you to the fine folks at McDonald's and
absolutely
God or whoever slipped that box of Sweet Lows up in that room for me to find.
Thank you, Lord. Well, I can't find any of the retro movies. They're going to be running a Future Shock happy hour and film screening. That's going to be happening.
This is part of Galacticon?
Yeah, this is part of what's happening at the Roswell Museum and Art Center.
Oh, I got you.
They're going to be doing an event from 5 to 7 p.m. this evening, screening a film called A Machine to Live In. And it's $20 per person. That's happening at 7 o'clock this evening at the Roswell Museum and Art Center.
Nice.
So,
good deal.
Sort of all over the place.
Well, and then, of course, don't forget, with Main Street Roswell, tonight is going to be the costume contest.
Yes.
That's the human one, so for people. So that's going to be tonight. And then tomorrow morning, right before the parade, will be the pet costume contest. Yep. That'll be on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn. And then right after the pet costume contest tomorrow morning, they'll kick off the UFO Festival parade. I think Clyde and you guys are going to be in it. Our big blue radio. It's actually branded with our sister station 92.9 The Brand, but
the Brand Wagon
with the brand box.
The Brand Wagon.
I don't call it a wagon.
That's what I've been calling that for years, though.
But
the big blue Brand Wagon.
But it's not a wagon.
I know, but we get to say get on the Brand Wagon. Like, get on the bandwagon.
What about the box, the brand box?
Mike, it's called creative. I don't even know what it's called anymore. I'm tired. It's Friday. It's called an attempt at creativity.
It ain't a wagon. It's more of a box.
Not a wagon. Fine.
I call it the brand box.
Find the brand box.
It's full of nutritious things.
Not nearly as catchy.
That make you poop well.
Oh, is that what it's full of? That's a brand box.
Speak it up now.
Speaking of regularity,
but we will have our big radio out through the parade. Clyde Lewis will be as part of that as well, amongst many other cool stuff here. But that'll be getting underway right about I think 9:30 tomorrow morning here and it is in the morning. That's a different thing than normal. Like usually they do it in the evening, like a light parade. This year's is in the morning where it's a little cooler.
We want the foil to glint in the morning sun.
There you go. So, but again, UFOfestival.com has got everything that's happening. UFO Festival, whether it's Galacticon, whether it's stuff here at the International UFO Museum, or if it's out at the Convention Center or downtown or whatever else. So, oh yes, that's true too. Don't forget the International UFO Museum and Research Center will be giving away cold hard cash
every hour of operation.
Yes,
that's impressive.
$75 an hour.
Wow.
How are they going to give it away? You got to find out. That's on you. Okay, all right, I know, but I'm not telling you.
We're gonna find out.
You gotta work some for this 75. I mean, come on. If not, give it to me. But
here's the thing: they're gonna tell us, but we're not eligible. So,
we're not.
No, so it's fine.
Although I don't have a shirt on.
We get the inside track.
I don't have the official shirt.
These are nice, by the way. I gotta thank Bulldog Pred Screen Printing and Embroidery because these are
they did an
very
amazing
nice.
job with our polos. I went with my Roswell Invader shirt today.
Very quick too.
So I wanted to This is kind of my unofficial shirt of UFO Festival.
I like it.
I seem
You
to
know
always
what?
wear this one.
I wished I would have thought about it because I have a jersey too. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a purple one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a
I didn't
couple
know
years.
they made a purple
A couple years ago, they put out one that was it was like purple and with yellow tinge sleeves.
The green. Okay. This safety green or
Yeah,
whatever.
had
it is,
had some green on it, but yeah, it's somewhere in some corner of my closet.
Now I like the blue. This is my favorite of the Invaders.
Right.
The blue on the
Which I like.
green.
See,
I
mine's not
know
Invaders.
it's popular, but I don't like looking like a traffic cone. The popular one is where this blue is actually they use this green
Right.
as the base instead of this blue.
It's that weird. If you've ever seen like the Seattle Seahawks
Yes.
gear, for a quick minute they went through this thing where they were taking just the color of the Hawk's eye and they were using that as the main color of the uniform. So it was like this bright lime green.
It was an alien green.
It was
yeah.
ridiculous, is what it was.
Well, a lot of people liked it.
I know my friend
not
was a
one, but a lot
Seahawks
of
fan
people
and she
do.
loved it, but I
Yeah.
hated it. It was
Yeah.
it was just gaudy.
I think we're in the minority on that
I'm
one. That's
sure
what
we
I'm
are.
saying. I think most people disagree.
Richard
with it.
Sherman looked ridiculous. Okay.
But anyway, this is the one I always liked, and so I got. So this is, but I've been wearing it for years. It is usually on the Friday of the UFO Festival. I show up wearing my Roswell Invader shirt.
I like it.
So.
It's one of those. It's okay. It's like my Vegas shirt. It's one of those things that I can wear for the bit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna feel ridiculous if I'm at like Albertsons buying a sandwich later.
Yeah. See, mine isn't like
You
that.
know,
I can
it's-
cruise about my day and be just fine. Matter of fact, I've cruised about my day. In
See,
this
but that's
shirt.
the thing. It's very unassuming. I'm wearing a purple jersey. It looks like I'm going for a thing. it's hard for me to do a thing without looking like I'm trying to do a thing.
Yeah. Well, and sports teams can be mean to some of their fans and give them the most god-awful fan gear sometimes.
That's the other thing. Is yours is an actual jersey. Mine it was a City of Roswell shirt
Yeah.
that came out a few years ago. So it's not actually in support of any team. You at least look like you're a fan.
I look like I'm a fan.
You look like you're a fan.
That isn't accurate. No, I just don't know anything.
You just have the appearance of a fan. Now, here's what I would do just because I'm me. I'm noticing it's a button down. I didn't even realize that. So because I'm me and I grew up in the 90s, I would wear it open with a white T-shirt underneath.
Well, I
Yeah, I saw the white shirt.
I
Right.
was, and I said, no, it looks better with
Yeah.
it closed.
Makes sense.
But
And
to be honest, I had it open and it kept getting flapping and getting in my way. So
that's
I
that's
cut
a
it
look that I was absolutely into in the 90s, and I
up.
wanted
You
to come
and
back.
every other male.
I love the open.
Have you ever not
button
watched
down.
Friends? Half
Oh,
those
I know,
episodes,
I know.
Joey and those guys.
And I've tried desperately to make it work again in the 2020s, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
It's like Fetch. I can't make it happen. Try though I may.
Oh man, but yeah, but anyway, I'm sporting my Raiders Invaders gear here. Of course, they played last night. I think they're playing again. I think they're in a series this weekend.
Yep.
So I'll do the double checking on there. For a second, I thought she had boxes of Sweet and Low. I was like, "Oh, this is a joke, right?"
Yeah, she does.
This is some kind of joke.
Now they're rubbing
messing-
it in.
This is some kind of weird. Yeah, this is weird, man. I'm gonna have these weird dreams of Sweet and Low just dancing in my head. But wow. But yeah, gear up, get ready. We'd love to see you. Come on out. Come out and meet us, greet us. Come on out here. Like I said, they open the doors here at 8 a.m. Come and they're gonna have a plethora of stuff going on at 8 o'clock. A lot of times when they do this day, when they have like the breakfast and things for the like the panel speakers and the authors and things, and of course a lot of them are going to be set up their tables, which I imagine I haven't been back there this morning. Yeah, they got the tables all set up there where you can meet all of these different panel speakers, the authors. Of course, you can buy their books, things like that. They've got some really great books to check out, or videos or DVDs. They run the gamut, and come learn it. And that's if you want to. If you want to learn, and that's the unique thing about the UFO Festival, because you really have different types of people coming here for different reasons. Like you have the people that this is strictly a business trip. They're coming here for research, information. They want to talk to all the people that are here at the museum to learn about their experiences, to learn about their information. And then you have the tourists, folks, the folks that are looking for a good time. They want to come, yeah, we see aliens and say, ooh, aliens.
Right.
But in the day, they want to buy their little green men hat and,
Sure.
and looking for a good time.
Do some foil stuff downtown. There's some really cool VR. Take it over to Spaceport Roswell. There's a lot. There's something for everybody.
And then
The concert, Midland.
And then, of course, you've got your, like I said, the music and that folks. And then you got our locals, folks that are coming, coming to see the new things that are in town for the weekend.
Yeah.
Come meet some of the, and it's a mixed bag of UFO into the UFOlogy stuff. And the others like, no, I'm here for Midland, and I'm here for all the cool food and vendors and all the stuff that happens. So it means a lot to different people. But what it means for us as Roswellians is
Roswellians.
Coup d'etat. But what it means to us locals is this is our.
It's a financial.
I know. Say what you want. Yeah, this is one of those. And matter of fact, I hope I get the chance to talk to Don Schmidt later on in the show about this a little bit. Just the economic impact of what the UFO Festival has done, and just because if I really want to get it, because I think I came to New Mexico in '97.
Right.
Literally, when I was in the military, I got stationed at Holloman Air Force Base, and I reported for duty in summer of '97. And it was right around the UFO Festival time, and it was the 50th anniversary, I think, is what it was. But I didn't realize, I think that was when they first started the UFO Festival and all. There really wasn't much of that.
It was sort of like the big kickstart
prior to it.
And I remember that 50th anniversary, and I wasn't in Roswell. I think we had moved the next year. I was in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho at that point. But that 50th anniversary, that was a big one. I think Will Smith was here, like in his full like Men in Black garb. I think.
Oh wow!
I think wasn't the president. I think the president was here at one point.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was Clinton. No, that was later. That was
different
later.
thing. Yeah, we were around for Foo Fighters.
Yeah, we actually got to go to that. That was
Yeah.
cool.
But so I just this museum and the impact of that festival. I mean, it's really kind of changed what the face of what this town's known for. I mean, yeah, it's always been known for aliens, but people didn't. It wasn't a thing. Like a tour. It was like, oh yeah, that's where the aliens landed, but no one came to Roswell. They just, oh yeah, that's the aliens thing. And so I really would like to pick Don's brain about some of that, and because he's really him and others were part of the spirit of this museum, and through their own research of UFO stuff, and they've. In my opinion, they've done a lot for this community, even though their quest is to learn the truth. By default, all this came with it. You know what I mean? And I think that's been a good thing for this community.
It's also been really awesome to see, the idea of the overall public, taking to, UFOs and aliens in general. Over the last 20 years or 25 years, our acceptance of it has really grown. Like all of a sudden, people are talking about it. It's a thing now, and there's whole research councils being devoted to uncovering the information that the government covered up several decades ago, and now it's become a thing, and we got to kind of grow with it.
I wonder how much technology's come into play there, because I mean, part of it too is everybody and their uncle has access to cameras and things now. Where we didn't.
Right.
That wasn't a thing before phones. We didn't. How many of us saw things and we're like, oh, I wish I had a camera for that one. Now we do.
Notice you never see Loch Ness sightings anymore, but you still have people with alien sightings or with UFO sightings.
Yeah, so. On a given day, you probably get 20, 30 new people that are posting, weird stuff they see in skies or weird things they're seeing, experiencing, and I think that speaks something. I mean, yeah, we can probably debunk some of these as whatever, airplanes, whatever is.
And they try several times to, but there are some things you just can't deny. What was the one where it's like the Seven Sisters or whatever? Like all the lights were just floating. The Phoenix lights, yeah. It's like seven or eight just lights floating in the sky for like an hour or two. Nobody can explain that. Still to this day.
But I think some of that's also popularized or legitimized, maybe, where now, because like I remember growing up and people saying they were abducted or whatever, and people look, oh, there's a crackpot right there. I remember when President Jimmy Carter, and I know a lot of people thoughts of President Jimmy Carter, But he was as a president claimed he saw a UFO, and that was kind of a big deal. People were like, whoa, look at, I mean, you take that kind of information in this political climate, they would shred it to pieces. But you know what I mean? I remember it was a big deal. But now people look and you're like, all right, well, maybe, I mean, there's so much evidence out there. At least people that are absolute, like saying, no, there's nothing here, can kind of at least say, all right, that ain't right what you're looking at. Right. We need to probably investigate that a little further, you know. So anyway, it's I think some of that has to do with, you know, even the more mainstreaming of UFOlogy stuff and UFO work.
And that's actually one of the topics of conversation. One of the speakers is how aliens, UFOs, the whole idea of it has gained legitimacy over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Kind of in popular culture, and how we just kind of accepted it more.
Who knows? Alienation might be a thing. Mm-hmm. We could all be living amongst us and everything else and all that. I mean,
we did spend 2 years pretty much alienated, so I feel like alienation is something we should accept.
As long as it's not V. I don't want to do that.
It's just not V, people. Please.
I don't want to see them eat mice and peel off their skin and there's lizard skin underneath. Yeah, I can't handle that. Give me something a little more humanoid, please. But if we're taking requests for our alien, and I prefer they speak English and talk.
Well, I mean, I assume that our lizard overlords are going to just take skin suits, so they're going to appear as like our leaders, the people that are in charge. But they're really going to be lizard people.
One may smile and still be a villain.
When you see them blink this way and this way, that's how you know.
All right, I should play some commercials and stuff.
We're already half hour deep.
We are.
We hit the weather. Dang.
It is 7:31. Let's do this. We're going to do a weather update. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to have guests throughout. As like I said, we open up here. We're going to be talking to some of our guests and things. We do have one at 8:15. Bill Bush, author. He's author of the Vetric series. And I believe it's him and his son, actually. His teenage son have wrote this series, and it's pretty interesting. So we're going to talk with Bill here next hour, and then, of course, we'll talk to some of the other folks here as well. Here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center for the 75th anniversary of the UFO Festival. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. Come on down and see us, but wait till 8. Because if you go now, the door's locked. But 8 o'clock, they'll let you in. All right, we'll be back. Don't go away.
Meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks like that moist air coming in from the monsoon will be sliding our way by tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. Sunny and hot today, though. We'll be in the upper 90s. Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day. Late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
When you think of home health care here in Roswell, what's the first thing that pops into your head? That's right, Frontier Medical. We've been doing it better than anyone else for over 20 years. From in-home nursing to physical therapy and so much more. Doctors and hospitals from Albuquerque to Lubbock and everywhere in between have been trusting their patients to us here at Frontier Medical. So when it's time to make a choice, remember Frontier Medical. 575-627-1112. Frontier Medical. Name to remember.
When I was young, I worked with an old retired farmer in a bookstore. His job was to ship the packages out. My job was to check the packages in. We worked across from each other with a large window in between us. If I'm being completely honest, my first thought was this. There's at least a 50-year age gap between us. He's an old man from the country, and I'm a city boy full of college knowledge. What on earth are we going to talk about through this window? I've been wrong many times in my life, but this time was one of the ones that I remember the most. It turned out that old farmer had a name, a story, and most of all, a deep abiding faith in God. It took about a week for me to move from working with an old man to working with one of the wisest men I've ever met. Oddly enough, the old farmer, with hardly any education, came to be my greatest teacher and mentor, surpassing every professor in college. He didn't have a PhD, he didn't serve as a minister at a church, and he certainly wasn't a great orator. But what he did have was a wealth of wisdom. Wisdom gained from life experience and a life walked with God. At 20 years old, that was just the textbook that I needed to be reading, or in this case, listening to.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Well, the biting bugs and the ferocious flyers are out in force. And if you don't take care of them now, you'll be swatting and scratching all summer. Makes me itchy just thinking about it. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Whether it's keeping the fleas and ticks off your animals or keeping the flies and mosquitoes away from your barbecue, you got to use the right stuff. And you got to do it at the right time. So come see us now at Roswell Seed Company and don't let the bugs tick you off. Get it? Tick
It's an old story. You go on vacation, you relax, you have a good time, and then you come home to a world of disarray. Your mail is backed up. You have 100 messages on your voicemail. Your lawn is 3 feet tall, and your pool has developed a nasty algae problem. Well, the good people at BioGuard can't solve all your problems, but they can help you with your pool. So before you go on vacation, stop at Mays Lumber at 115 South Virginia in Roswell and ask about their special vacation plan. BioGuard has a wide variety of products that will find algae and take care of your pool. So when you come home from your vacation, you can depend on your pool to relieve your stress and not add to it. Because BioGuard guards more than your pool. They guard your time, your vacation, and your peace of mind. BioGuard at Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell.
We cut to order, special order, products sold and new. You can count on Mays Lumber Company.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, no, I'm growing like a bamboo. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:37, and we are broadcasting live. That's right. We took Mornings with Mike Winters on the road. We're here
live,
at the
pal.
We're live, pal. We'll do it live here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center, where it is officially day one of the UFO Festival, the 75th anniversary of the incident. Yes. And everything's gonna doors will officially open here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center, beginning at 0800 here in about 22 minutes from now. And T-minus. Yeah, T-minus. By the way, so I got a little more skinny on this giveaway money they're going to be doing.
I thought you were just bragging that you got a little cardio in during the break.
I did. Actually, I just burped, and that kind of got a little
16
skinny.
jumping jacks. But then he had a hash brown, so I feel like he canceled one canceled out the other.
We call it a counterbalance.
I see.
A yin and yang, if you will.
Well, everything in balance. I get it.
There you go.
I like
That's right. A ting and tang, a tung and tung.
A tete-a-tete, if one will.
That's another subject, right? Another day. I've got a thing on that.
Is that a subject?
I do, because it's a social media thing. But that's another topic because I'm going to go into a whole other layer of thing.
Okay.
I heard a new social media name, and I'm like, what, do they all just do this yin and yang name now? Is it, TikTok? And I think I don't know. But another topic, I'm going to get off topic if I can't talk about that now. So, I do want to talk about this, though. We got to thank our sponsors.
Absolutely.
For doing this. Yesterday, we had an awesome lunch over at Dion's.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic!
And they
rolled
by
out
the way,
red carpet for Clyde.
Well, it turns out they're fans and not us, but Clyde.
Right. But you know what?
Robert was the manager.
Yeah, the general manager Rob there was absolutely fantastic. He rolled out the red carpet, and it was nice to kind of be in the crew. of Clyde Lewis.
We were like we're the hangers-on.
Right. We were part of the entourage.
That's right.
Yeah. There's always that guy that gets to hold the umbrella. Or
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were that guy.
We'd be like that little dog in the cartoons, and he's fighting. How you doing?
Big thanks to Dion's and Rob over there, and also a humongous thank you to Chris, because Chris was like, I mean, he was wearing like a concierge.
Yeah, he's our man about.
I don't think I've seen somebody do that as much running around as Chris was doing.
So thank you to Dion's, thank you to Peppers as well. They
Yes.
they hosted us for dinner. Sean and I, or at least I didn't get a chance to go to the dinner last night,
Yeah.
but I heard they had an amazing meal, and Adam and his staff were amazing over there. Today, be on the lookout. Rube Crib, we're coming at
That's
you
right.
for lunch today, and then dinner
be all up
tonight.
in you today.
We're going to do a little Italian at Portofino's there.
So big thanks to Rib Crib, big thanks to Portofino's Italian restaurant. I got to also thank La Gran Victoria as well as Antigua Cocina Mexicana.
Is that where you're going tomorrow or
That's
Saturday?
We're basically laying out a menu.
Okay,
and also
sweet.
got to thank Candlewood Inn and Suites because they put Clyde up and provided the room there. Big thank you to the International UFO Museum and Research Center because
Yep.
we're here and they've given us this.
They've been very
absolutely
very
hospitable.
accommodating.
So big thanks to them as
and
well.
then on our personal side, yeah, I got my pass. Oh, look at that, Angela. Angela's got her. Yeah,
Ooh.
Angela has been very, very helpful.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She has been very, very helpful.
There's been a lot of hands and moving parts.
Also
in this
very
process.
helpful.
Hi. Hi, Mom. I'm going to Disneyland.
I got a big thank you to our producers, Tanner and Roy. They've been doing yeoman's work here the last 2 days, and we'll be kicking butt here all the rest of today and probably a little bit tomorrow too.
And the
So
roving Roy cam is out right now.
Yeah, Roy is out and about, roving and roaming.
Our roving reporter Roy.
Did they fire up the bass or is someone snoring? What was that noise I just heard?
You might have been turning on the...
Okay, I was hearing something that sounded like is either Jurassic Park or someone like had too much beans in their burrito this morning. I'm not sure which.
Here's a fun fact. You know the sound that they used in Jurassic Park for the T-Rex?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what they used?
I have a guess, but I don't know.
Go ahead.
A colon?
No. Turtles having sex. They super slowed down the sound of a turtle having sex and used that sound as the roar
sound of a T-Rex?
of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park.
I did not know that.
Approval from Tanner in the corner. He's going, yeah.
I did not know that.
And now you do.
But
now you can't not know that.
That's true.
Every time you watch Jurassic Park, you're going to hear that. You're going to think, huh.
Very good. Well, I'm just sitting here. This is kind of cool. I'm going away from that because I don't want to talk about turtles no more. And
what I like to do is I like to take a conversation and I like to slam it into a wall.
Kind of puts Cowabunga Bay in a whole new light, doesn't it? But
turtle power indeed.
But what we are kind of gonna do like this. We're kind of behind the scenes right now, getting underway, and we're moments away from the actual museum and open up here, and it's kind of that moment where we got the staff. They're anxiously awaiting. They've got the table set up. They're all getting ready for the flood that's about to come in, and it's kind of neat. It's kind of a neat thing. Everyone's getting their game faces on, getting ready to meet and greet all the folks that are going to be coming through the doors.
What time is it? Game time. Who? What time is it? Game time.
Whose house?
Karen and Kat. You can get on a mic, dude. Feel free.
Yeah, we do. Hold on, let me turn it on, because that's how they work. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, just wanted to also make sure we said thank you to Karen and Kat here at the UFO Museum. They have been amazing in helping us get everything we needed to get this going. So
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is an all hands on deck weekend here for the International UFO Museum and Research Center. And folks local, come on down, check it out. Come, especially if you haven't been in a while, come see they've done a lot of work over the COVID years here, doing a lot of upgrades and updates to some of the technology, obviously some of the displays and things here too. And another thing, and Chris was mentioning this, I think he didn't even realize till his wife started working here, but when I always say International UFO Museum and Research Center, there's a reason you need to say and Research Center,
right?
Because literally, if you want probably one of the best libraries,
most comprehensive by far,
all things related to aliens and abductions and everything internationally, there is a paper copy of it here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center.
Yeah.
So
stuff that's happened in Stockholm, stuff that happened in Germany. I
we're
mean,
talking,
it's all kept here.
stuff you see online all the time to stuff that's long before, some of that stuff was out there.
Yeah.
So it's
recently
really
declassified information, stuff that finds its way here on a daily, weekly basis is stored right there in that research.
So if you're, a UFOologist or really maybe you're an author, maybe you just want to uncover the truth and go on your own path. This place you could literally spend days, weeks just sitting here going through volumes and volumes of materials, books, articles, photos, all of that stuff, and it's pretty intense and pretty in depth. So
maybe you're the
definitely
writer
want to
of,
check it out.
Like a sci-fi series, need a little inspiration. There's so much inspiration in that library. So many different origin stories. So many different ways that information has reached official people. So great research tool.
Yeah, it's definitely so. Please, when you're in here, looking at all the cool displays and things, some of the movie stuff and some of the the lore and the history and some of the photos and things, take a voyage through the research center and start taking a look at some of the books, and maybe your first trip, just kind of pick an area and pick a couple books and say, oh, this is interesting, and find a new area the next time you go. But there's really some great stuff here to do. I mean, you could literally spend hours, days, weeks just going through this material.
Sir, you're going to need to leave. I just need a little more research. just give me 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes?
But and I don't think they'll let you check it out like a library card. It's here. It's here, part of these archives. But it's a vast library of stuff here. Right. So please check it out here. So I don't know. I guess they're starting to let these are dignitaries, maybe
some of the speakers.
But yeah, they're starting to fill up here in the museum.
I got a little inside info as to how they're going to be doing the big giveaway. This
yes.
weekend.
I started to tell about that, and then I got sidetracked. I'm pretty sure it was the
turtles having sex.
No.
Okay.
It was the TikTok thing I was gonna and jabber. But yeah. So we got a little more skinny on how the that's where it stopped. I said skinny, and then we went to another
off the rails.
I love when a plan comes together, but yeah, we got some more information on how they're giving away the $75. The more information it's random. It's very random. It could be you're sitting in maybe one of the panels, and they say, "Hey, Travis Walton, give away one of our random things," and you maybe, oh, this guy asked a bunch of questions. Here's $75. It could be you're standing there staring at one of the exhibits in the museum, and they're like, "You look like you could use $75. Here's $75." It could be.
Thank you, Ferry.
It could be. Maybe you're even in the gift shop trying to buy something. You're like, uh-oh, here's my wallet, and someone says, "Here's $75. Could be looking for Sweet Low. Yeah. Randomly walking through the dark annals of this building, and they'd be like, "Hey, here's $75." So they're doing it random each hour, every hour of the hours of operation here for the International UFO Museum and Research Center. They're going to be doing that. So when's the perfect time? Every time is the perfect time. You don't know. It's very random. It's very it's very just arbitrary. So.
Roll
Anybody?
See what happens.
So literally, employees and people like that. But if you're just a random person coming to visit and see all the sights and sounds, and you're here on the property, you could be winning that $75. So just be the right place, the right time.
It's just that easy.
Sometimes the sun just shines down on you, and that's what's going to happen
like
once an hour here.
So this is So come to as many of the panels as you can. These are they're great panels. A lot of great information. A lot of folks going to be talking about the history of UFOs, all the government cover-ups. Some of the stuff that I'm actually fascinated about is Roswell in popular culture. There's going to be one particular speaker that's going to be talking about Roswell in popular culture, and you've seen a lot of that. Chris was just talking about some of the first mentions in the early '90s with the X-Files. I personally, my biggest takeaway or biggest one was in Futurama, the episode Roswell That Ends Well. They had a whole episode that took place on the Air Force Base here in Roswell. Yeah, and so it's fascinating to watch Roswell in popular culture. So that's one of the panels I definitely am interested in.
Not to mention 2 television shows named Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah, but we don't talk about those.
the movies, various movies, and
I cannot tell you how infuriated when that first Roswell series came out. I was in high school at Roswell High, and they had Roswell High on the series, and it wasn't the Coyotes. It infuriated me.
I get that.
I mean, it lit a fire in my belly that I took in with me into the reboot. I'm like, I hate you. I hate watching you. I posted up on both elbows, and I hate watched for a full 2 episodes, and then it got real weird at the end of episode 2. I'm like, I'm out.
Well, therapy helped too.
Yeah, therapy did help.
We realized it was just a TV show and not worth getting mad about.
Which is why we let you know that this portion of the program brought to you by BetterHelp. It's not. It's really not. It's not. They're not. It's not.
So if there's any fans of the newer series that just ended, little trivia for you here is the UFO Museum was lucky enough to acquire a lot of the props from the show. They were up in Albuquerque here just a few weeks ago getting some stuff. So as you look around the museum, you might see some stuff that's a little familiar. I know they've got some the alien props hanging up in that window in the North Library. And I think in here in the main museum, there's some lights that used to hang in the diner on the show. So if you look around, you might see some familiar stuff, and they're going to be adding more stuff over time. So
that's right, folks.
If you're a fan of the newer Roswell show,
if you like Roswell,
some swag lying around here.
If you like the Roswell series, filmed in Albuquerque, you can check out some of the props here in Roswell. Sorry, do I sound bitter?
Ain't no show called Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I'm just saying. No, they had that show. It was called Breaking Bad. It's about meth.
Yeah. All they did was talk about drugs and throwing pizza on roofs.
It's about as close as you're going to get to a documentary.
Nothing clean and wholesome like aliens. All right, it is 7:51. We got to do a news update real quick. So we're going to do a news update and a quick commercial break. We'll be back. We're broadcasting live from the International UFO Museum and Research Center for the 75th UFO Festival. Come on down and join us. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. Thanks for joining us. Our top story, Roswell police have identified a man believed to be responsible for a string of burglaries of cars in the past week. An arrest was made Wednesday, and now police are asking for some help in building their case. Anyone who was recently victimized by having their vehicle broken into with items stolen or rummaged through is asked to call Roswell Police at 575-624-6770 to report the incident if you have not done so already. Police are also looking for any video surveillance that might be useful. A Ruidoso man has been ordered to serve 25 years in prison for a January 2021 killing. 27-year-old Travis Hoyle was involved in a gathering at a home in that city when he used a sawed-off shotgun to shoot and kill Nathaniel Chi. Hoyle then stole someone's truck to flee the scene. He was captured after a high-speed pursuit with police later that morning. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
The demand for brand new vehicles is over the top. It's not uncommon to wait months and pay thousands over the sticker price. And some Tesla owners have begun flipping their own cars like real estate. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by CarShield. Protect your car from expensive repairs. Visit carshield.com/Kim and save 10%. Deductible may apply. Buying things and then reselling them for a profit is the world's oldest business model. From farmers to real estate, it's buy and sell. House flipping is so popular that cable channels are full of them. Because of the semiconductor shortage, lithium batteries are becoming more expensive. Thanks to Putin's war on the Ukraine, EVs are scarce and expensive. So here comes the car flipper. People who buy electric vehicles, drive them for a few weeks, and then sell them, making profits of $4,000, $5,000, maybe even $8,000 per car. And who is the most likely to buy a car that's being flipped? Believe it or not, it's another car dealer. I post breaking tech news 24/7 at my website, commando.com. As the sun comes out and small businesses are back in business, LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people who you want to interview faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates worth interviewing faster. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/Kim. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn.com/Kim.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks like that moist air coming in from the monsoon will be sliding our way by tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. Sunny and hot today, though. We'll be in the upper 90s. Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day. Late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The Independence Day travel picture is looking hectic. Airlines are facing their biggest test with big crowds when July 4th travelers mob the nation's airports this weekend. Problems were popping up well before the weekend, with some disruptions caused by thunderstorms. American Airlines canceled 8% of its flights on Tuesday and Wednesday, and United Airlines scrubbed 4% of its schedule both days. That's according to FlightAware. If you're driving, the nationwide average for gasoline has eased since hitting a record $5.02 a gallon in mid-June to $4.86 a gallon on Thursday. That's according to AAA, which expects prices to continue to ease because of rising gasoline inventories. The OPEC cartel and allied producing nations decided Thursday to boost production of crude. The increase of 648,000 barrels per day in August still is a drop in the bucket. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
When you can't be home, make your space feel more like home with Candlewood Suites, Roswell, New Mexico, featuring extended stay rooms, complete with kitchenettes in a quiet area, plus plenty of great amenities, including free hot coffee 24/7 and the Candlewood covered 24-hour convenience store, plus the Candlewood gym and free laundry facilities. Cool off in the outdoor pool, complete with hot tub, and enjoy the outdoor gazebo and grills. And the Candlewood lending locker for stuff you couldn't pack, like crock pots, board games, and more. Call 575-623-4300 to find out more. Candlewood Suites, where everyone here is sweet on you. Your home away from home.
What if? What if the government lied? What if aliens survived the crash? What if they escaped? What if they're still here? Hiding, waiting, preparing. What then? Find out the truth behind the 1947 Roswell incident in novel form. TheVetrixSeries.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winter.
And good morning. It is 58 minutes after 7 o'clock. Slight delay, so you might be just a little bit in the future hearing this. But should be still 7:58 by the time you hear that. We are broadcasting live from the International UFO Museum. It is day one of the 75th anniversary of the incident and big celebration weekend here.
Yep. Things are picking up.
Going on. Things are picking up here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. Come on down. Everything gets underway here in about a minute. They're going to open the doors up. We've already got some of our panel speakers and things already here, ready to come and get festivaling. So definitely want to come on out here. Stay tuned. Next hour, we're going to get some of our interviews here. Matter of fact, one of them will be Bill Bush, author of the Vetrix series. You might have just heard his commercial there. We're going to talk with him, and we'll talk about that book series. And he's here for UFO Festival. We'll also talk to some of the other folks here around the festival.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we just invite you all to come on down and be a part of it, too. So come have some fun with us. And big thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to McDonald's for providing us breakfast every Friday morning out here. Whether it's here or in our studio, they're always providing it to us. So what we're going to do, we're going to pause here for local news, and then we'll be back on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Biden meets virtually today with a group of governors to discuss abortion. The sit-down follows the Supreme Court's ruling striking down Roe versus Wade. Flying somewhere this holiday weekend, expect crowded airports, full planes, and higher than normal chances that your flight will be delayed or even canceled.
Airlines have stumbled badly over the last 2 holiday weekends, and the number of Americans flying over July 4th is expected to set records for the pandemic era. The problems are already popping up with high numbers of cancellations this week, some caused by heavy thunderstorms. Tracking service FlightAware says American Airlines canceled 8% of its flights on Tuesday and Wednesday, while United scrubbed 4%. As for the highways, gas prices have eased below $5 per gallon nationally, but they're still high, and government data suggests Americans are driving a bit less, with demand for gas down about 3%. I'm Ben Thomas.
Republicans pledging to investigate the Biden family if the GOP wins the House in November.
Kentucky Congressman James Comer says the GOP is ready to peel back the layers on the first family's pattern of what he calls placing profit over country. The interview with the ranking member of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, published in the Daily Mail after a leaked voice message from the president to son Hunter, solidified proof Mr. Biden knew about his son's wheeling and dealing overseas. Comer called Hunter Biden a national security threat and promised to open an investigation should the GOP take back the majority. Rhonda Rockster reports.
The Russian assault on Ukraine continues as the civilian death toll continues to mount. A turnaround on Wall Street. Stocks which had been in the red are now in positive territory. The Dow is up 122 points, the Nasdaq ahead 68, and the S&P trading 21 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshares. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, well, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sounds crazy, right? Well, the crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-691-9999. 800-691-9999. 800-691-9999.
In England, they have conducted a first-of-its-kind survey of the many statues scattered across the country. The BBC's David Solito has the results.
There are around 70 Queen Victorias, 12 Nelsons, 6 Gladstones and 1 kangaroo in Chelmsford. Of the 2,600 people depicted, 77% are men, 17% women, the rest a mixture. Also among the 13,500 entries, the empty plinth of Edward Colston, the statue having been torn down because of his links to the slave trade. A search of other monuments to people with explicit links to slavery reveals only a handful of results. There are also more than 20 statues dedicated to dogs and cats.
Rescuers found 2 more bodies as they resumed clearing operations after an overnight halt, looking for nearly 70 people missing after a mudslide triggered by massive flooding in India's northeast. Townhall.com. A listeria outbreak linked to 23 illnesses and 1 death.
The CDC has not identified a food that might be spreading the deadly bacteria, but is putting the public on alert about symptoms, including fever, muscle aches, nausea, and diarrhea. Almost all the people who've gotten sick either live or travel to Florida. The first cases were in January of this year, but have continued until recently. Listeria is one of the most dangerous forms of food poisoning and can be treated with antibiotics. It is especially dangerous to pregnant women, newborns, the elderly, and those with compromised immune systems. I'm Ed Donahue.
The number of new coronavirus cases across Britain surging by more than 30% in the past week. The cases largely driven by the highly infectious Omicron variant. The British government reports that more than 3 million people in the UK had COVID-19 as of last week. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, that one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. Let's have a listen. What does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2. The Deuce. Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Broadcasting live from the International UFO Museum and Research Center where it is day 1.
Yes.
And it's officially underway. Yep. 0800. The doors are open here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. The 75th anniversary of the incident is underway here, and we would love for you to come be a part of it. It's all going on downtown. We've got, of course, a lot going on today. This is a multiple entity event being pulled off here. The city of Roswell's got events going on at the planetarium, the zoo, all over there. Of course, Main Street Roswell's got everything happening downtown. Like they'll have the actually human costume contest tonight, 8 o'clock on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn. Also, they'll kick off everything downtown here. Pioneer Plaza, they'll have everything going on here. Galacticon sponsoring the human costume contest tonight. And then the pet costume contest will take place tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn there as well. And then the UFO parade will take over about 9:30 right after that. So you want to make sure you get a good spot downtown for all of that. I believe they'll go from 3rd Street to about 13th, I think. Is where, so if you want to get anywhere between 13th and 3rd there on Main Street, we'll get you a good spot for the parade tomorrow morning. Again, that starts at 9:30. But definitely there's going to be stuff going on all weekend here at the UFO Museum, out at the Roswell Convention Civic Center with Galacticon, with more of the panels and everything from the Research Center here. They're going to also be having stuff going on here downtown, Pioneer Plaza, the Chaves County Courthouse lawn. Main Street Roswell's got their passport program happening on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn, where if you want to get exclusive swag that's for the UFO Festival that's only available through the passport program, what you can do is you sign up, and then you go and you visit. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You go visit some of the Main Street downtown businesses that are participating, and then you find clues to get your stuff, and then get your passport stamped at each of these places. And then when you're done, you go back to the courthouse lawn, present your passport, and you get exclusive swag.
Yeah.
You know, pins, things you can't get
A bag of swag.
from any other way but through the passport program. And I know for folks there's quite an underground collecting side of the UFO Festival where they collect the pins and the stickers and all the. Each year they have special, logos and designs and things, and so you get exclusive stuff for doing that. So if you're into collecting all that, visit the visitor center. They're at the old Conoco building, right heart of downtown there, and definitely visit Main Street Roswell on the courthouse lawn there too.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna have vendors all up and down Main Street with all kinds of different wares. Usually the merch booth for the City of Roswell, for Main Street Roswell, is right there on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah.
Where they saw the exclusive City Roswell merchandise. Actually, last year I got the first umbrella I've bought in the last decade.
Nice.
I haven't owned an umbrella as an adult for a long time, because what's the point? I live in Roswell.
You know
Almost
what?
never
I
comes
owned
up.
an umbrella and I lost it last year's UFO Festival.
Same. It was a UFO
Oddly
Festival
enough,
umbrella. So
I left it somewhere and I don't know to this day where I did with it.
So this will become my new tradition. Every year I'm going to buy a new UFO Festival umbrella.
Good deal. Okay. All right. At 9 can we be back? Yeah, that'll be perfect. We'll do that at 9. Yeah, get that confirmed. So sorry, I was doing producing and showing at the same time.
Chris is off running around talking to Men in Black.
Here's what we got going on this hour. We're gonna be talking here just in a few minutes. Here we're gonna have author Bill Bush join us. He's author of the Vetric series. And we're going to talk about the series of books, and really it's basically aliens and talking about aliens living amongst us and all of this stuff, and it's in novel form. It's really cool. So we're going to talk about that. I think I was reading that him and his son wrote these series, so I kind of want to pick his brain about that a little bit too. So, but we'll talk with Bill Bush here in just a little bit. We're gonna right about the top of next hour, right after news and everything, about 9:05 or so. We're gonna have Don Schmidt join us, and we'll chit chat with him. We'll probably grab a couple other people to chit chat with here at the museum as well between now and 10 o'clock this morning. So but that's the soft plan. That's the soft plan. Then we'll do it live. But all that good stuff. Again, got to thank the fine folks at McDonald's.
Yes.
Each and every Friday they provide us with delicious breakfast treats. And even though we're having a new home here the next or today and yesterday, McDonald's still provide us delicious breakfast treats.
And that's the beauty of McDonald's, is it doesn't matter where you call your home, whether it's the studio, whether it's the UFO Museum and Research Center. McDonald's, they'll come to you. They're mobile.
Absolutely. And speaking of mobile, download the app.
I see what you did there.
And utilize that for your smartphones, tablets. Thank you. And he gave me a coaster.
I noticed on a plastic tablecloth he gave you a coaster. You don't want to leave rings.
Classy.
It is.
Nothing but the best. Oh, what's a spared no expense?
That's right.
Is the term I believe we use. But big thank you to McDonald's for providing us an opportunity each and every Friday for us to get food and everything. Download that app. You can start earning rewards like the first time you utilize the app if you sign up for the rewards program. So next thing you know, you order a couple of times and then you got a free chicken sandwich or some chicken nugs or a Big Mac.
2 times points for breakfast.
By the way, I cashed into my points some. I'm only down to like 10,000 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I bought a Grimace.
Put a down payment on a nice strip of land down by the beach.
Actually, I bought Grimace's sneaker, the left one.
Nice.
Yeah, I got that. So
turns out if you get 15,000 points, you actually get the services of Grimace for an hour. And then you get to find out what his services actually are.
That's right. Well, if Grimace's house had a shake machine in it, I totally would buy it. How much of a man are you if you got your own shake machine?
I think somebody told me one time that the Grimace is supposed to represent a taste bud.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, okay. I mean, all right.
I think he's Barney's dad. I think that's what's going on. I think he's
Barney's daddy.
Yeah, Barney's daddy. He's Barney's daddy. Anyway, it is 8:13. Thank you to McDonald's.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
Grimace is good. And we're at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. We're going to get you up to date with the weather. And it is monsoon season, so your guess is as good as ours. It might rain, it might not. They say it could rain, could not. And then it'll get cloudy. It might rain, it might not, and that's what's going to happen.
Roll the dice, see what happens.
All right, here's your weather.
Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks like that moist air coming in from the monsoon will be sliding our way by tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. Sunny and hot today, though. We'll be in the upper 90s. Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day. Late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Celebrate this 4th of July with a splash at the ENMUR Pool. Join them for a pool party from 11 to 4 on Monday, July 4th. Come enjoy concessions, live music, and lots of time in the pool. Families up to 5 get in for just $20 or just $5 per person. Active and retired military are free. Entry includes a pulled pork sandwich, chips, and watermelon. Cool off this 4th of July at the ENMUR Pool on the ENMUR campus at 20 West Martin in Roswell.
Have you ever thought, Mom and Dad are beginning to need more help, but with a busy job and raising a family, you just don't have the extra time? Personal Care by Design is just what you're looking for. We can be there when you can't, from 1 hour a day to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our caregivers are carefully screened, and we are the only personal care service that is overseen by a registered nurse. Competitive rates, great people, and experience is what sets us apart. So when you need extra help at home with your loved one, you can count on Personal Care by Design. Personal, private, and protected. Call us at 575-625-9471 for your personal care needs and receive a free nursing evaluation. That number again is 575-625-9471.
When I was young, I worked with an old retired farmer at a bookstore. His job was to ship the packages out. My job was to check the packages in. We worked across from each other with a large window in between us. If I'm being completely honest, my first thought was this: there's at least a 50-year age gap between us. He's an old man from the country, and I'm a city boy full of college knowledge. What on earth are we going to talk about through this window? I've been wrong many times in my life, but this time was one of the ones that I remember the most. It turned out that old farmer had a name, a story, and most of all, a deep abiding faith in God. It took about a week for me to move from working with an old man to working with one of the wisest men I've ever met. Oddly enough, the old farmer, with hardly any education, came to be my greatest teacher and mentor, surpassing every professor in college. He didn't have a PhD, he didn't serve as a minister at a church, and he certainly wasn't a great orator. But what he did have was a wealth of wisdom. Wisdom gained from life experience and a life walked with God. At 20 years old, that was just the textbook that I needed to be reading, or in this case, listening to.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Book your reservations now for the Roswell UFO Festival, June 30th through July 3rd at Candlewood Suites, Roswell, New Mexico. Be there as the most powerful name in paranormal news and alien conspiracy goes live. It's Friday night at the UFO Museum and Research Center, brought to you by Candlewood Suites in Roswell. Candlewood Suites is your home away from home with free hot coffee 24/7, on-site 24-hour convenience store, swimming pool, hot tub, and so much more. Book now. Call 575-623-4300 or Google Candlewood Suites Roswell to reserve your room. Candlewood Suites, where everyone here is sweet on you, even if you're otherworldly.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, "Hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 17 minutes after 8 o'clock, and we are broadcasting live here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. It is day one of the UFO Festival. The doors officially opened up here. Folks are having the breakfast and everything else going on. And we are here doing the show today, broadcasting live. Joining us here in our makeshift studio here in the International UFO Museum is author Bill Bush. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on here. And, of course, Bill, along with his some family here, are the authors of the books, the Vetric series. Morning, Mayor. There's the mayor right there if you want to say hi to him. But the Vetric series, which is and I was kind of reading the synopsis of the books, and it's I guess it's a group of people that don't believe and then get basically believed by they saw it, and then it kind of they find out a whole lot more about what's going on with the aliens, and it's a lot deeper than what they initially. That's kind of how the story goes. I mean, obviously there's a lot of details, but that's in essence kind of the story.
Yeah, the main character is a 12-year-old sixth grader here in Roswell, and he gets kidnapped. He doesn't believe in aliens. His cousin does, but he gets kidnapped by an alien.
Okay.
And that's when he starts believing, obviously, and ends up on the planet Vectrix.
Okay.
And he's got to help them against this intergalactic war, if you will, in order to get home.
Gotcha.
And meanwhile, his cousin and best friend in Roswell, no one believes that he got kidnapped. They think they're playing a prank. And
right.
So then they go hunting, and they end up finding an underground colony of aliens that have been hiding since the 47 crash.
Okay.
And so that's
Nice.
kind of the premise.
So it's really like it's just everything peels back a layer, an onion layer here as they go more through it. Now, I was looking. How many books are in the series right now?
4.
4 in the series, but there's more coming, right?
There's 3 more coming. It'll be a 7-book series.
So 7 series total. So you're just slightly over halfway in the story, basically here. Now, this is the part I thought was interesting. This is actually I was reading in the synopsis and everything, and this is actually, I mean, you're the author and writing, but your son was very much part of the inspiration, part of the creating the story, the universe in which you write about.
Yeah, absolutely. When I had bucket list. Writing a book was on my bucket list in 2013.
Okay.
I decided I was going to do it.
So what's your day job, by the way? What do you like? What?
I was a CPA back then.
Okay. All right.
I'm a newspaper reporter now.
Okay. So you were a numbers guy, but like to write, and now you're able to make a career out of that too.
Yeah.
So, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gave you I'm sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh,
about
yeah.
the story.
No, but I just sat him down and I said, I need an idea for a book.
Yeah.
And so he and I brainstormed. He came up with a lot of the characters. The main character's kind of fashioned after him, if you will. So it's got a lot of his quirks and those kind of things. So it's got his fingerprint all throughout the series.
Gotcha. So what was it, the bug that got, I mean, like you said, it was on a bucket list to write a book, but what was it that finally was it your son, or what was it finally said, you know what, I'm going to start putting, pen to paper or finger to keyboard here?
Like my mom, I grew up, my mom wrote all my life, and she published 2 or 3 books.
Okay.
And so I'd kind of seen that and wanted to do it. But then I started writing a column in April of 2013 for the newspaper.
Okay.
They advertised someone to write a column. I submitted, they accepted. And so starting to write every week kind of got my juices flowing, I guess.
Okay.
And then I just kind of wanted to go from there.
Oh, very cool. So it just, you got bit, basically.
And now I work for the newspaper. I started that column 9 years ago, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and do you still do that same column, or are you doing other stuff? That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great you found, like, what makes you happy, and it's nice that it also pays the bills, too. That's also helpful, I'm guessing, too.
Well, the nonfiction working for the paper pays the bills.
Yeah.
The fiction hasn't yet.
Not yet, but hoping
that's
to.
The dream, yes.
Sure. So, so far as the idea for this series, when, like you said, your son, but was it envisioned always as a 7-series book, or did you know it was going to be a multiple book, or did you think you could do it all? I mean, what was did it evolve to 7, or was that from the get-go the plan?
No, I just wanted to write a book when I started. But after I finished, we felt, and it's a complete story, but we felt like there could be a lot more to it.
Like you're like thinking, you know what, I could take it in this direction, or I could take it in this direction. Let's play with it and see what it does.
And I just came across a Facebook post yesterday, actually, where I posted back in 2014 or 15 that I was going to make it a trilogy.
Okay.
So originally it was going to be a trilogy, and it just kind of grew. And so I've been thinking 6 or 7 books for quite a while, and I've this last year I've kind of figured out how I want to end it. So I'm pretty sure it's going to end up at 7.
Okay. Now, from what I was reading in reviews and things, it sounds like this series is kind of geared for a pretty broad audience. Where I mean, so like it's written where your teenagers, your preteen, that age group would definitely be interested in it. But it's also written to where you don't have to be a preteen to enjoy it. You could be adult and 80, 100 years old, and it would appeal to you as well too. But so it's not like it's not written to be written over the head of younger folks. So younger folks will certainly relate to the stories and relate to, because like you said, it's some of that age group in as the characters in the story there.
Yeah, kind of the sweet spot I've found as far as middle school. It's like the 4th to 6th graders really love it.
Yeah.
And adults really like it a lot.
Good deal.
It's
got that Harry Potter appeal where it doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult, you're gonna enjoy the story.
Yeah, I think so. I mean? Yeah, that's the feedback I've gotten.
Good, that's great. So how is there an evolution in your writing style from book 1 to book 4 in your opinion, or when we get to book 7, do you think it's gonna look a little and sound a little different than book 1 did? And just because the more you write, the more experience you get, the more you always get better the more you do stuff,
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I definitely going back and reading, I'm like, I cringe sometimes, like, yeah, I could have wrote that better, that kind of. But I've also got a cozy mystery series. I got 4 books in that.
Okay.
I've got 3 other books I've written but haven't published yet. So I've done a lot of writing.
So you've got other branches in your writing career here too. So was this the Vetric series, the one that started it all?
Yes.
This is the one that bit the bug here and everything.
Yeah.
else. Okay.
And I still think the first chapter in Vetrix is one of my best chapters I've written.
That's that's your proudest, one of your proudest achievements in literature.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah.
How hard is it? And this is because my brain works a certain way, and I'm one of those people. I kind of have to have the one-track mind, because if I multitask, I tend to botch that.
Right.
But you must have like 6 or 7 stories juggling in your head right now. I mean, especially if you're branch, because you started the Vetric series, but you haven't finished the Vetric series, and you've gone into others. The goal is to come back and finish the Vetric series, but how do you balance that where you're like, all right, I know I got to finish this series, but my brain's here right now. Is that where it is? It's just you just go where the brain kind of is feeling creative in that story. I mean,
that's a lot of it. It's hard because I do have so many ideas of knowing what to focus on. And I mean, I could have had the Vetric series done, 2 or 3 years ago if I would have focused on that.
The muse was carrying you other directions.
Yeah. So I've got to appease it, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, sure. And it's kind of like I imagine songwriters and things have a similar, they're working on one thing, but if their brain keeps going here and it's something different, then all right, let's get that out of our system and get that. Maybe we can go back and focus on what we were originally trying to do here. But that's great. And hopefully you get to a point where this is, I imagine you write your day job writing for the paper is still a labor of love as much, even though, you know what I mean? It's there to pay the bills, but you probably love doing it as much, you know what I mean? It's not work because you love doing it, so you don't look at it as a work per se. It's just part of your writing.
Yeah, my lifestyle is writing. I write nonfiction during the day and fiction at night.
So I got to ask, because my father-in-law is a retired CPA, and unless you're really bad at CPAs, they make pretty good money. What was it? Is it just not fulfilling you? And or you just said, you know what, I'm retiring. It's time to do something different.
No, I didn't retire. My passion was writing, and I knew
the numbers weren't motivating you and stuff.
Yeah,
I get that.
I enjoyed it, but I also traveled a lot and it just wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Gotcha. And I imagine too, it also freed up your schedule. Spend more time with the family, kids, because I know CPAs, especially from about January, February till April, they don't come out the office. They're buried in the
right.
You know what I mean? And they're, my father-in-law, he'd be up at 3 a.m. working, and he's working till 9 o'clock at 10 o'clock at night those nights, during tax season.
Right.
So it's a grind. So I can imagine that after a while that probably kind of gets to you a little bit, especially if you're like, I got this idea for a story, and now you're able to turn that into your passion into a living. That's amazing. That's great to see.
Yeah, it's been fun. And, I gained 7 to 10 hours just commute time. And now I walk across the street to go to work.
Now it's
So I love the lifestyle, yeah.
And you may or may not have to wear flip-flops, so it's kind of
right.
nice. I'm curious what, as far as, what's next? I mean, do you have another book that you're creating, or is it the next into the vortex here? What is the Vetrix here? What's next for you as an author?
Oh goodness, yeah, I've got. I'm working on book 5
for the Vetrix. Okay.
On the Vetrix series. I may just push through. I may just push 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Pretty quickly because I already know what they're doing, but I also know the next 3 books in my Cozy Mystery series.
Okay.
So I'm itching to write those.
Okay.
I've got a Christmas story that I've had in my mind for 6 years that has just been sitting there because I haven't had time to write it.
Okay.
And
is it fun to write in different genres? Are they like your Christmas story? Is it? I mean, there's no science fiction at all in that. It's just or is there a twist of science fiction in your Christmas?
No,
story?
it's a Santa Claus traditional kind of Christmas. Yeah, and that's part of my marketing challenge that I face is I do write all over. The 3 books I finished that I haven't published, one's a paranormal thriller, one's a kid's horror story, kind of like Goosebumps, and the other's like a Christian inspirational book.
Okay.
So I'm all over the place because that's where my mind goes.
Well, that's great, though, but it also probably gives you a platform to kind of – you don't pigeonhole yourself. And that, because like you write the Vetrix series and everyone's like, oh, he's a science fiction author. And then at some point you're like, I'm not feeling writing another alien story or I want to talk about more about life or whatever, or a more heartfelt story, kind of like, I would put a point like a John Grisham. John Grisham, everyone knows him for his legal thrillers, but they don't realize he's got a whole series of books that have nothing to do with lawyers in courtrooms and things like that.
Right.
But because people know for him as, cert blockbuster movie they've turned into one of his books.
Right.
They know him for that stuff. So that's pretty cool that you get that you're able to say, I'm going to do a science fiction book here, and then I'm going to do a religious book over here, or something that's more for some of my other passions and things like that. So,
well, until I'm relying on the income from my fiction writing, I can write anything I want.
Then the niche will tell you where the money is, right?
Yes.
Exactly. That makes complete sense.
Yep.
So, you're a part of UFO Festival this weekend. You're going to be set up over at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center.
Yeah.
Are you part of Galacticon? Or are you part of the actual research side over there? I think with the books and stuff, you might be with the Galacticon.
I'm guessing that's where they put me, so I'm guessing that's why. But I've been part of the festival for 5 or 6 years now.
Well, I mean, it's all part of the festival, but there's actually a separate organization running and that's more like the Comic-Con stuff where they've got the cosplay and the comics, but it's the same all together there. So so you'll be in there, authors. Matter of fact, there's another great author named John LeMay who he does his books and things up there. He writes a lot of stuff about Billy the Kid and locally here for us.
Yeah.
But then he does a lot of books about the history of Godzilla and so speaking of guys who write multiple genres, so definitely a guy that you might, and he does a lot of his own self-publishing and all that kind of stuff too. So how was that getting into the publishing side? Was that did you do it all yourself, or do you have a company that does all that? Or
yeah, I started my own publishing company, and I've been doing all that myself.
Okay, so that's kind of a neat thing that we can do in 2022, where an author 20-30 years ago. Yeah, you gotta appease somebody at one of these companies, or your book's never going to see the light of day.
Right.
Thanks to technology and everything else, it's a lot different now. So
it is. It opens up some opportunities, but it's also a lot more competition out there because of that.
This is true. So, folks, check it out. If you're out here at the UFO Festival this weekend, come on, and you can meet Bill Bush here at the Roswell Convention Civic Center. What time you got to be there, like noon today or something?
Yeah, well, like 1 to 9 today.
Yeah. So he'll be over there all weekend. You can get a copy of any of the first 4 books in the Vetrix series.
I've got them all, yeah.
And do you have your other fairs here, too?
Yeah.
So all of Bill's books here, and Book 5 you're going to have to wait on. That's not quite ready yet. But if you want to come meet him, if you can't make it to UFO Festival and you're out, but you're like, hey, I need to check this out, go to thevetrixseries.com. That is Bill's website that talks all about the Vetrix series and all the different books. If they want to peek into some of your other stuff, where would you point them at?
BillBushAuthor.com.
BillBushAuthor.com. Okay, so maybe you can do some reading here, get on your phones, do that before you head on out to the convention center here this weekend. and then you can pick Bill's brain about some of his other books and talk with him. And that's the great thing about this is you get to come and meet the authors and talk. And so I'm sure you'll probably meet a few people who have already been reading the books, and they're probably going to have questions for you about, characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you get a lot of those discussions on why did your character go this way with it,
right?
And so that's great to see.
Well, and even if they don't want to buy anything, stop by and visit.
Come by for a visit.
Yeah.
Here. But is there any information you wanted to share that we didn't get a chance to talk about here?
No, I mean I also have T-shirts.
Okay,
so
you got swag and everything
else. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you visiting and get her. I'm glad to see your new passion in life is going pretty good here, and we're welcome to Roswell. This is the first time you've been to Roswell?
No, I actually lived here in the 90s for a couple of years. My dad and sister and brother live here. So
okay, and now you live up north, right?
I'm in Kansas.
Okay.
Yep.
Slightly up north. You're in his neck of the woods. Yeah, he's from Kansas City.
Halstead.
Oh, yeah. He came to us from Kansas City area.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
Good deal. Well, thank you very much, Bill. Thank you for visiting with us. Thank you for coming and talking to us today. And we look forward to come meet Bill. If y'all come meet Bill out at the convention center here, like I said, about noon one today when they open everything up over there. You can come by and see Bill and start getting copies of this book and all of his other books as well too. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And help yourself to McDonald's or some donuts.
Oh,
over
all
there.
right.
Got you covered there. All right, it is 8:34. Let us pause here. We're going to do a quick deal for news and a quick commercial break. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters live at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. Thanks for joining us. Our top story, Roswell police have identified a man believed to be responsible for a string of burglaries of cars in the past week. An arrest was made Wednesday, and now police are asking for some help in building their case. Anyone who was recently victimized by having their vehicle broken into with items stolen or rummaged through is asked to call Roswell Police at 575-624-6770 to report the incident if you have not done so already. Police are also looking for any video surveillance that might be useful. A Ruidoso man has been ordered to serve 25 years in prison for a January 2021 killing. 27-year-old Travis Hoyle was involved in a gathering at a home in that city when he used a sawed-off shotgun to shoot and kill Nathaniel Chi. Hoyle then stole someone's truck to flee the scene. He was captured after a high-speed pursuit with police later that morning. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks like that moist air coming in from the monsoon will be sliding our way by tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. Sunny and hot today, though. We'll be in the upper 90s. Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day. Late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. The Independence Day travel picture is looking hectic. Airlines are facing their biggest test with big crowds when July 4th travelers mob the nation's airports this weekend. Problems were popping up well before the weekend, with some disruptions caused by thunderstorms. American Airlines canceled 8% of its flights on Tuesday and Wednesday, and United Airlines scrubbed 4% of its schedule both days. That's according to FlightAware. If you're driving, the nationwide average for gasoline has eased since hitting a record $5.02 a gallon in mid-June to $4.86 a gallon on Thursday. That's according to AAA, which expects prices to continue to ease because of rising gasoline inventories. The OPEC cartel and allied producing nations decided Thursday to boost production of crude. The increase of 648,000 barrels per day in August still is a drop in the bucket. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
It's an old story. You go on vacation, you relax, you have a good time, and then you come home to a world of disarray. Your mail is backed up. You have 100 messages on your voicemail. Your lawn is 3 feet tall, and your pool has developed a nasty algae problem. Well, the good people at BioGuard can't solve all your problems, but they can help you with your pool. So before you go on vacation, stop at Mays Lumber at 115 South Virginia in Roswell and ask about their special vacation plan. BioGuard has a wide variety of products that will find algae and take care of your pool. So when you come home from your vacation, you can depend on your pool to relieve your stress and not add to it. Because BioGuard guards more than your pool. They guard your time, your vacation, and your peace of mind. BioGuard at Mays Lumber, 115 South Virginia in Roswell.
We cut to order, special order, products sold and new. You can count on Mays Lumber Company.
When I was young, I worked with an old retired farmer at a bookstore. His job was to ship the packages out. My job was to check the packages in. We worked across from each other with a large window in between us. If I'm being completely honest, my first thought was this. There's at least a 50-year age gap between us. He's an old man from the country, and I'm a city boy full of college knowledge. What on earth are we going to talk about through this window? I've been wrong many times in my life, but this time was one of the ones that I remember the most. It turned out that old farmer had a name, a story, and most of all, a deep abiding faith in God. It took about a week for me to move from working with an old man to working with one of the wisest men I've ever met. Oddly enough, the old farmer, with hardly any education, came to be my greatest teacher and mentor, surpassing every professor in college. He didn't have a PhD, he didn't serve as a minister at a church, and he certainly wasn't a great orator. But what he did have was a wealth of wisdom. Wisdom gained from life experience and a life walked with God. At 20 years old, that was just the textbook that I needed to be reading, or in this case, listening to.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Have you ever thought, Mom and Dad are beginning to need more help, but with a busy job and raising a family, you just don't have the extra time? Personal Care by Design is just what you're looking for. We can be there when you can't, from 1 hour a day to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our caregivers are carefully screened, and we are the only personal care service that is overseen by a registered nurse. Competitive rates, great people, and experience is what sets us apart. So when you need extra help at home with your loved one, you can count on Personal Care by Design. Personal, private, and protected. Call us at 575-625-9471 for your personal care needs and receive a free nursing evaluation. That number again is 575-625-9471.
Sometimes we put off important health needs like surgeries because, well, we worry about the pain and time needed for recovery. Dr. Paul Torres, a board-certified general surgeon, has joined Loveless Healthcare Center and is helping patients in the Roswell area get back to the lives they love with less pain and a faster recovery through advances in minimally invasive surgery. To find out if laparoscopic surgery is the best solution for you, call Loveless and make an appointment today at 575-625-3222.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. The homemade taste of bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Some things sound so good you can almost taste it. Like Bluebell Strawberry Lemonade Ice Cream. Delicious strawberry ice cream swirled with lemonade sherbet and sprinkled with lemon-flavored flakes. It's better than you can imagine.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at Albertsons United Supermarkets and all Farmers Country Market.
Celebrate this 4th of July with a splash at the ENMUR Pool. Join them for a pool party from 11 to 4 on Monday, July 4th. Come enjoy concessions, live music, and lots of time in the pool. Families up to 5 get in for just $20 or just $5 per person. Active and retired military are free. Entry includes a pulled pork sandwich, chips, and watermelon. Cool off this 4th of July at the ENMUR Pool on the ENMUR campus at 20 West Martin in Roswell.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. The education assistance I received made it possible for me to be the first person in my family to go to school and graduate debt-free. That education helped get me to the first day at my dream job, a job that I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job, plus the other benefits possible from the Army National Guard, helped me become a first-time homeowner. Also, part of my role as a National Guard soldier means I know that I can be one of the first to respond and help my community if disaster ever strikes. I'm extremely proud that I get to serve my community, and that first step I took by joining the Army National Guard has made all the difference in my life. Talk to your local recruiter or visit NationalGuard.com to find out what firsts are available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 43 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome. We are broadcasting live here from the International UFO Museum and Research Center as it is official. The UFO Festival is underway.
That's right.
Things are out and about and happening here and there and everywhere.
There's a line forming outside.
A line.
Yes, the excitement is growing. Anticipation builds.
So what they actually have going on right now is kind of the reception breakfast for all of the speakers, panelists. The mayor just did a proclamation inside here, and then I think they're going to let the public in at 9. I think is what I'm understanding now. So that's the latest here from the UFO Museum. Don't forget we have lots going on. Of course, the panel speakers, all of that's going to be getting underway here at like 9:30 for some of these, and then of course downtown here, Main Street, Roswell, they've got their stuff getting underway here. The Chavez County Courthouse lawn is full with all kind of stuff there. Pioneer Plaza across the street there, same thing, activity going on there. You can sign up for passport program there. Tonight, 8 o'clock, that's for the pet costume contest, sponsored by Galacticon. I'm sorry, the people costume contest is tonight at 8 o'clock out there on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn. Tomorrow at 9 is the pet costume contest on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn.
By the way, a couple of traffic updates. Main Street is open. The main thoroughfare is open. However, 4th and 5th streets are closed between Main and Richardson, as well as Main and Virginia on both sides. And Richardson is closed for the block or so between the Convention Civic Center and the parking lot Deberman area.
Yeah.
So those areas are closed. Please find alternate routes and be aware of pedestrians, because we have a lot of folks walking around. Take your time. The other thing, and I'm going to be one of these people later today, all right?
The bird
Watch
is the word.
For scooters, all right? We're seeing a lot of bird scooters around. I saw several of them just cruising around Roswell.
Well,
I downloaded the app.
Well, on the same note, the scootees, the ones scoot in.
Yes.
Need to remind them that the sidewalks are going to be busy.
Right.
Don't be weaving in and out, scooting and scaring the living daylights out of people.
Yeah, we got to be careful.
Yeah. Don't be a savage.
Bring me down a little bit, will you?
And that way, you won't. That way you can share the sidewalk with those on foot and those on scoot.
They only scoot so fast, and please be ready to use your brake and don't just barrel through people.
I've seen y'all driving in parking lots, and y'all need some scooting skills, because I've seen 3 people eat it on those things.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the uptick in scooter related incidents at the ER.
Yeah. I've seen the Dukes of Hazzard slide, bowl over. I've seen the endo.
The endo, right? Right.
I've seen them all.
Let me know when you see the fall guy jump.
Yeah, I haven't seen the.
I'm holding out for a 450 rail slide.
The power slide into the tuck and roll was pretty good.
I saw what got me was I saw a young lady. I was here at the light at 2nd Street. I was on foot, and I watched a lady very confidently just coming down Main Street on the sidewalk and took the turn onto 2nd Street, just leaned into it and made it happen. It was very smooth. It's I don't think she's from around here. I think she's done this before, done the scooting thing before, and she was like a seasoned vet.
A scooteteer.
That's right. a trained scooter.
Speaking of scooting, We got to thank the fine folks at Roswell Ford. They were kind enough to provide us something slightly larger than a scooter.
They've been scooting Clyde Lewis.
To get Clyde Lewis and his crew around.
Beautiful Ford F-150.
Yes, and of course our very own Jamie's been helping getting Clyde and the crew out and about there. So a big thank you to her. And her reward is she gets to eat all this great food with all of us. That's kind of, it's like it's a labor of love. You're like, oh, I got to take you to eat more delicious meals.
I'm glad that it found a good home yesterday. But I need you to understand, that was a mentally ill amount of food on that table.
Oh, yeah, Dion's.
I
think we just fed the entire staff of the UFO Museum.
We did. We took.
And us.
We all had, most of us had at least a sandwich, and these weren't the small sandwiches. That was my dinner last night, was the other half of that sandwich. It was they took amazing care of us at Dion's. It was a 10-inch sub, and in addition to that, there were 4 massive pizzas that just looked like Pac-Man by the end of it because they had like a couple pieces.
4? I think it was more than that.
It was 5. Was it 4?
I thought it seemed like it was
more. It was huge. There was a carnivore. There was a veggie. There was the 505, which was the pepperoni. Yeah, the pepperoni and green chili. It was fantastic. Plus the brownies at the end. I mean,
and the garlic cheese bread.
I think cheese bread was insane.
Clyde's ready to come back to Roswell just for that Dion's garlic cheese bread.
That was strong. It's coming out the gate strong with that stuff. That was good.
You know what? Roy said it best. He said, "Yes, it's cheese on bread, but it's so much more than that.
It's delicious."
And for you folks listening to Dion's, if you ever see Mike walk in, you better have some green chili ranch ready for him.
Please, at the ready.
You know what I did was I got me the turkey sub, which is awesome, the turkey and Swiss, and I just dumped about a half a container of the green chili ranch on the sub, and I was pig in heaven, man.
I went with the Italian, and I got to say the green chili ranch is phenomenal on that too. But the pro move is what I did after the fact. I went home and Dion's, if you got this on scene, you should put this out on the tables. Malt vinegar, salts and malts vinegars. Yeah, it was fantastic, dude. Put a little malts vinegars on that sub.
That's the tastiest treats there. Sorry, it was a little inside baseball.
Total Letterkenny reference. You know they don't put salts and malts vinegars on tables in the United States.
I hear it's good on sushis and sashimis.
Walleye.
So I heard about your fish experience in Las Vegas. So did you douse it in malt vinegar there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I asked for extra because they're like, oh, it's on the table. I'm like, no. I'm going to need more. There was like half a bottle. I'm like, I'm going to need more. I'm a man who likes a good vinegary fish and chip. Because I do it on the fries too. You gotta rock on the fries too. But yeah, that malt vinegar on that sub just knocked it over a whole notch.
I don't know.
That was good.
I found the green chili ranch. That's all I need.
There's not very many times in my life, especially not in the last 6 months, where the phrase copious amounts of food could be used to describe my situation. That was yesterday.
I'm just in all you need is green chili ranch. Dun, 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 dun. Green chili ranch is all you need. But so big thank you to them, and then of course Peppers last night was very. I missed that meal, so I can't brag it on. But I've been to Peppers 100 times, and I know how good they do.
Anybody get the steak au poivre?
I got the steak au poivre.
Dude, you got to go au poivre.
It's so amazing. Good. And Ron got to try the bagged margarita. If you're not familiar with Peppers, the BAG. Mm-hmm. He got to give that a shot yesterday,
nice.
So I think he enjoyed that.
Very good.
So he was a bit sauced when he started Ground Zero. I like that. You like that, you like to hope that your DJs get a little loose beforehand, you know?
Yeah. You know what? And I don't. It's not on their regular menu because I've had it in their catering side of things. They make an awesome ceviche.
You know, I didn't have. That was one thing I wanted so bad when I was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Didn't have it. I did, however. We walked by the Lanai, which is on Fremont, home of the. And I didn't try it here. Home of the 99-cent shrimp cocktail.
Wow.
Yeah. I really wanted to go in and try it, see how quality it was. But the way
I think you're still here because you did not try.
Right. There's already enough games of chance around there.
That's true. That's true. But that's also the home of the
blue one's bigger than the red drink.
That's also the home of the $10.99 prime rib special. Okay. But
that fire in the blue is bigger than the red one.
But what they do, the move is it's chopped shrimp that they serve in a cup with cocktail sauce mixed in.
That sounds revolting.
So we went to this other place, and I ended up ordering one for like $7, and it was the same thing I would have gotten at the Lanai. I was kind of mad, but I still ate spoonfuls of chopped up shrimp.
That's like a burger shake. What is that?
Yeah, right.
It was a little off-putting, but you know what? It wasn't bad. Can't really complain.
Thank God Peppers doesn't do that garbage. That was
At least you returned to us in one piece.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but big thank you. Then big thank you. Like
yes,
you said,
huge
thank you to the staff here at the UFO Museum. They've been very accommodating, very helpful. Thank you to Don Schmidt and all those guys have been very helpful to us here. Thank you to, like I said, all of our sponsors and including roll off that list one more time.
Absolutely,
please,
yeah. Just a huge, humongous thank you to, first and foremost, the International UFO Museum and Research Center. They've been our home for the last 2 days, and they have been working tirelessly to make this event happen with the ufologist invasion. Huge thank you to Candlewood Inn and Suites because they helped us out with getting a room for Clyde, getting us set up with stuff there. So for all your needs there, Candlewood Inn and Suites is here to help you guys out. Big thanks to Roswell Ford, as we mentioned earlier, providing that vehicle. Dion's Pizza, like we said, the purveyors of prime pizza here in Roswell. Pepper's Grill and Bar and Grill here in Roswell. Big thanks to as well to Rib Crib, Portofino's Italian Restaurant, La Grande Victoria.
coming
Italian
to see you later.
Absolutely. And this is basically a road map to our gluttony. Portofino's Italian Restaurant as well as La Grande Victoria Restaurant, which I'm very much looking forward to.
I have a
Antigua.
doctor's appointment next week, by the way. I think I failed to tell
Spoiler
people
alert,
that.
bad news. Bad news ahead. And rounding it all out at Antigua Cocina Mexicana. So that's absolutely phenomenal. So big thank you to those folks for making this event such a success and helping us out in doing so.
And again, I just want to say thanks to Clyde and the folks at those restaurants. Treated Clyde like a king. Yeah. I think he really had a great time and really appreciated.
Did you see the traction that that picture got that he posted up on his page?
I did not.
It was up well over 1,000, about 2 hours, 1,000 impressions.
Okay.
Well after I
the one at Dion's?
saw it yesterday.
Yeah,
the one that Clyde posted on his page.
It was a pic at Dion's with him and the manager.
With him and the manager, yeah.
And here comes the tub of Sweet and Low again. But
mockery, the sheer mockery. Okay,
I think we need to start doing something, Sean. I think we need to start secretly planning Sweet and Low packets around his studio, so every day he can come in and just
That's like the Ron White bit where he stuffs M&Ms in his dog's jowls.
Right,
gonna be a good day, Tater. That'd be all right.
it'll be daily. Mike's daily. Where's the Sweet and Low segment?
I like it. I'm in. But I mean, Clyde, I think he was very cool, very accommodating.
Absolutely.
Awesome guy.
And,
awesome.
I think very appreciative. They're fun to hang out with and be around. So.
It was so cool last night. We did the show right outside, and just his fans coming up and talking about, oh my gosh, I've listened to his show for years, and I listen every night, and being able to stand 3 feet away from him and watch him do his show, I think it was really cool for a lot of folks.
He's built that show, built that audience, and since 95, I think he's been doing that show.
I believe so. Yes.
And he's built that empire there, and he's got the following, a national following, and it's so come see it tonight. He's going to be doing the show indoors tonight in the North Library here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. So, time of air is 8:06 is when he goes on, but
after
8
the
p.m. tonight.
News, weather, Clyde.
Yeah.
That picture, by the way, of Clyde alongside Robert, the general manager of Dion's, up at about 1,400 impressions, thumbs, and hearts, and over 100 comments.
Wow.
An hour after he took it, there was over 70 comments when I found it, and I shared it on our page, which didn't have nearly many.
I know who this Robert guy is, but Clyde Lewis is about to make him blow up.
Well, what's cool is people come to Roswell for this festival, and they get to see what small town is like. The personal touch that people give, and that's what's cool. I mean, me coming from a bigger city to here, I love it. I love, I walk into a restaurant and I see 3 different people I know, and it's like you wave at folks, and it's really cool around here. And
a lot more hey y'alls, a lot more hospitality. But at the same time, we kind of put on a little big city sheen for this weekend, and we got the lights, we got the the glitz, and we're kind of taking things up a notch a little bit. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. But big thank you to everyone that helped us support us do our thing, and we really do appreciate that. And again, come on, look out. Like I said, we got another hour show here. You want to come on, check us out. Doors will be opening here in a minute. Come hang out, see things, and come meet some of our UFOologists and researchers, and learn their stories and talk, and come see the museum, and come on out. Start your morning here, and then maybe make plans later. once it really heats up when you want to cool off.
Yes.
And get out of
the AC will be a poppin' here today.
But definitely a lot happening at this year's UFO Festival. Again, go to the website, UFOfestival.com. That encompasses every single activity and event that's happening in Roswell that either is directly or associated with the UFO Festival. Right. Everything happening here at the museum, everything that's happening through Main Street Roswell, everything that's happening through Galacticon, and the city of Roswell itself. All of those entities, their events and things are happening right there at that website.
Right. And don't forget to download the See Roswell app as well. That's
Yes.
That's a fantastic way to interact with things happening this weekend. Gives you just a chance to kind of see things from a different perspective.
Yeah. And with all the speakers we have going on this weekend, also check out the UFO Museum's website. I believe it's UFO Museum Roswell.
And they've got the list of the panel
speakers. They've got
speakers,
all the panelists
times,
and some bios. So if you want to figure
where
out
they're
going to
be speaking,
exactly.
There's multiple. There's like 3 or 4 places just within this. The museum itself. They've also got several places over at the convention center that they're doing panel speaking.
The next 3 days, you will not have any point of time where there's nothing you could be doing.
Yep. And then again, don't forget, tonight, 8 o'clock, is the human costume contest on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn.
Yep.
And pets will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Same location, Courthouse lawn.
All sponsored by Galacticon.
Galacticon, which is not a bad guy in Transformers. It is the...
What are the Autobots sponsoring?
Car show down the road. Yeah, down the road.
My belly. But we're going to pause here for news. Stay tuned next hour. We got a slate of guests we're going to try to bring up to the microphones here and chit-chat with us. We're broadcasting live from the International UFO Museum and Research Center for the 75th anniversary of the incident. We'll be back on the other side of news. Do not go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. That coffee keeps going around with the sweet and low.
Oh, sure.
I wish you were here at the beginning of the show. That would make more sense. It's just kind of funny now. All right, we'll be back. Don't go away.
And Ground Zero is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM. KEND Roswell.
Program 1001.
All.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It's expected to be a very busy holiday travel weekend. Some 47 million of us taking to the skies or hitting the roads. And if you're among those who will be driving, you'll pay about $1.70 more for a gallon of gas than you did last year. AAA's national average, $4.84 a gallon this morning. Frustration is growing among parents and local officials in Uvalde, Texas. They're demanding more information about the investigation into the school massacre in Uvalde.
I've got nothing. Mayor Don McLaughlin and the Uvalde Town Council met Thursday evening with angry townsfolk who have not been kept informed by state investigators or the district attorney about the May 24th shooting that left 19 students, 2 teachers, and the 18-year-old gunman dead inside Robb Elementary School.
Other cops that are around here know exactly what happened in there, but they have a gag order to keep their mouth shut. But what about us? What about us parents?
I agree. You should know before anybody. In this also from KSAT, McLaughlin says, I can't even tell you, look anybody in the eye in here and tell you who's in charge of this investigation, because I don't know. I'm Tim McGuire.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the Supreme Court ruling allowing termination of the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy will encourage thousands more migrants. Dangerous and sometimes deadly trek north. One law enforcement officer killed, others shot and wounded last evening happened in Floyd County, southeastern Kentucky. A suspect is in custody. At least 19 people have died in Russian airstrikes on residential neighborhoods near the Ukrainian port city of Odessa. 2 children are among the victims of those Russian airstrikes. Watching Wall Street, stocks in the red. Right now, the Dow is down about 174 points. The Nasdaq off 72 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The fight for the unborn is raging in our country. The Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, clearing the way for many states to ban or severely limit abortion. The abortion debate rages on all across the country. The award-winning film, The Matter of Life, cuts through the rhetoric and hatred and exposes the real issues surrounding the plight of the unborn. The Matter of Life. Stream it at salemnow.com. If you care about protecting the unborn, this is a movie you will not want to miss. It's been hailed as the best pro-life movie ever made. Stream it today at salemnow.com. That's salemnow.com. There is a battle taking place in America. Whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, you need to see this film. Stream it today at salemnow.com and have your own life transformed as you watch The Matter of Life. Stream it today at salemnow.com.
The British government is having to deal with another alcohol-related scandal, this one involving a Conservative MP.
Chris Pincher, whose role was to maintain discipline among Tory members of Parliament, submitted a letter of resignation to Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Thursday. Now Johnson has to decide what to do with him. Pincher said in a letter, "I drank far too much. I've embarrassed myself and other people, which is the last thing I want to do." But he said he would remain as a Conservative lawmaker. Johnson didn't answer when journalists shouted questions to him outside his 10 Downing Street residence about whether he would indeed suspend Pincher from the party. Charles de Ledesma, London.
North Korea suggesting that its COVID outbreak began in people who had contact with balloons that were flown from South Korea. It's a highly questionable claim. It appears to be an attempt to hold its rival responsible amid growing tension over the North's nuclear program. Townhall.com. In sports, the Big Ten expanding westward.
The Big Ten is branching out to California. The conference has voted to add Southern Cal and UCLA as members beginning in 2024. The move coincides with the end of the Pac-12's current media rights contract with Fox and ESPN. It will increase the size of the Big Ten to 16 schools. The Trojans joined the old Pacific Coast Conference in 1922, 6 years before the Bruins. Pac-12 schools received less than $20 million each in fiscal year 2021, compared to more than $46 million for Big Ten universities. I'm Dave Ferry.
American basketball star Brittany Griner has appeared today in a Moscow area court to stand trial. Her court date comes about 4.5 months after she was arrested on cannabis possession charges at an airport while traveling to play for a Russian team. So again on Wall Street, the Dow down about 200 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, that one man on this force will rest for 1 minute and they'll leave behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking from the DJ. Let's have a listen to what does he say. I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3. He whispers. He just wants to know if he can hear it.
It's even
He's testing engineering, guys. Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. We are getting ready to start hour 3 live here from the International UFO Museum and Research Center.
Yes.
Where the UFO Festival is officially underway. The doors are open.
Mm-hmm.
The crowds are making their way in. They just had the, I guess you could say, the panelist breakfast and opening ceremonies here just a few minutes ago. Joining us here right out the gate, he's got a panel here in a few minutes, so he's got to get to UFO Festival and it's your speaker. Or what is it? Never mind. I'm a duck. But Don Schmidt's with us. I always joke
but it's not a joke. I always call him the godfather of UFOlogy because he really is really kind of really kept this going, kept this, as a guy who basically, debunked this stuff. And then
I was a skeptic.
Yeah.
I was a skeptic.
And you start from there to where we're sitting at today. That's why I call him the godfather of UFOlogy. But Don is an author, and of course, which your story's been turned into movies.
Right.
So we've, You've got a lot of other credentials, but that's why I just say Godfather of UFOlogy kind of covers them all. Here.
And please don't ask me to do Marlon Brando.
But and of course, I think one of your titles there is part of a co-founder here of the International UFO Museum as well, right?
More of an ambassador. But I'm an advisor to the board of directors as well as the director. Mm-hmm. I was involved when the museum was founded. We were the ones who initially made the proposal because we were very concerned. And I cited the example back home in Wisconsin with Wisconsin Dells, which is one of the major tourist attractions in the country. Mm-hmm. And it's all owned by Chicago business. So most of that money goes back to Illinois.
Really?
Okay.
And now, almost 30 years ago, it was in May of 1990. We were at the Crystal Hotel in Marriott, Alexandria.
Okay.
Just outside of D.C.
Yes.
And it was a conference sponsored by the very Prince of Liechtenstein, Hans Adam, who was just totally fascinated with Roswell.
Okay.
In fact, he's been here on 2 occasions, met with the witnesses, and they invited us to bring in a good number of witnesses. We had a dozen at that time. And we were becoming more and more concerned for all the media attention. The movie that was optioned at that time, that as Wisconsin Dells, the outside opportunists would come in to the city and exploit the incident. And all we have ever been concerned about is the truthfulness, the accuracy, the factual, as far as historic preservation of the eyewitness testimony, all the data, all the research that we've conducted all these years, and that this museum, has become wonderful mecca.
Sure. And that's a part of what lends the success of this place is the legitimacy, is the fact that there's an entire research library. It's not just little green men, and we're not blowing things up and making things out of proportion. It's we're going off of facts. This is the data as we have it, and we have volumes and volumes of the research that's been put in on this subject. So it's the legitimacy that makes this place such a success.
Agreed. And I've had the good fortune. I mean, I've lectured throughout China, Australia, Japan, South America, throughout Europe, Moscow. I had dinner with 2 of the cosmonauts, and they toured me through the Space Museum, and all they did was ask me in their broken English about Roswell. And the point being that wherever I'm fortunate enough to go, I'm promoting this museum.
Yeah.
And it's not where I was ever hired or assigned to do that, but
by default it just kind of happened.
It's like, but we see this as my baby in many respects, and because certainly the case, as it was handed off to us by the late Stanton Friedman, the nuclear physicist, who was a dear friend.
Yeah, he really carried this baton for so many years.
Absolutely, and the fact that when he pretty much, and he wrote the foreword to, it was the very last thing that he wrote before he died, and it was the foreword to one of our books. And he essentially said that, now it's up to Don Schmidt and his partner Tom Carey to finish this. Right. And we have no intention. I mean, granted,
although you got to admit that's a pretty tall ask of you guys.
Well, it is.
Hey, keep doing what I was doing. And by the way, what I was doing was the best.
Well, and when you consider, though, we've had press conferences at the Washington Press Club, and we had the citizens hearing in 2013 where we testified before all those retired members of Congress, and we had an entire afternoon on Roswell. And considering even the congressional hearings now, I've been informed on 2 occasions that we need to have our legal team ready, which we have, that should Congress call us in to testify. So I'm sorry, I don't live here in Roswell, but we're the ones they're calling to come in and again represent Roswell.
Because they know that you have
Right.
the information.
Right.
Well, and I know, and this is actually, I was catching a little bit with your discussion with Clyde Lewis last night.
Yes.
And I kind of, I know there's a lot of folks that are purely from the research side, the investigative side of it, and they kind of poo-poo a little bit on the fun side of what we have here. And I understand that. I get it, because no one wants to be made a mockery of their life's work and research.
Of course.
No one wants that.
But
as someone that grew up, or I didn't grow up here, but someone that lives here in Roswell, I feel like we're kind of thankful for it a little bit, because and I understand, but I think the fact that everyone has this curiosity and they do it through the form of buying little green men trinkets and all this stuff, but at the same time, we revitalized a community here, and people don't realize. And I think when 97, when they brought the 50th anniversary, there really wasn't this kind of thing going on prior to that as much. You know what I mean? It wasn't on the radar. It wasn't internationally known. And I think, the base closures, the jeans plant, the bus plant, we've had a series of things that made huge economic impacts in this community.
Yes.
And I think this is the saving grace for this community.
But what Roswell also has to understand is that for those of us representing the incident and serving as, the authorities on the subject on a global basis, that is one of the predominant questions and accusations that comes across more than anything else. Haven't you created this tourist trap? Haven't you done this all just to profit? And aren't you working with the city in, essentially resurrecting as far as the local economy? And it's like, well, if that's the end effect, it also happened with Elvis at Graceland. It also happens in the Holy Land.
It's a positive
It's
thing.
a positive.
It's a
but
good side effect of all
precisely.
this.
And if people still come here, at least they come through the museum. And they get a touch, they get a semblance of some of that truth.
They think it's the fun,
and they can have fun. But if they leave a little more convinced, a little more receptive of the fact that maybe it did happen, maybe this is all based on an actual event, then we've accomplished our mission.
Well, and I think because like you said, and plus we live in a world now where everything we all talk in 140 characters and everything's a joke real quick, and I get all that. But
280 now.
Is it up to 280? I'm sorry. I'm not hip on the hip lingo, but so it's easy to kind of trivialize everything, and that's the thing I think is great, is they're going to come in with the mindset, the little green men, full hats, and we all wear alien glasses and have fun, and then they come here, and then they start reading one little thing, like, that's neat, and then by the time you walk out of here, you may not be going, definitely aliens crashed in Roswell, but you're going to go through and say, you know what? They present a lot of evidence that I don't have an explanation for, and that's got to lead to something. When scientists are studying stuff out there and finding minerals and things that don't exist on this planet, how do you explain that? You know what I mean? How or are things that we can't replicate here on Earth?
Well, one of the things, for example, I've led 5 of the archaeological digs in the crash site, because we're still, conducting scientific research, trying to find, a piece of our holy grail, so to speak. And there have been fragments that have been discovered, and they contain elements that, albeit indigenous to here, planet Earth, but they're not of a registered alloy anywhere on the planet. And one in particular, it's a combination. It's mostly aluminum, but it also contains molybdenum, which is a hardening agent strictly for steel. That if you combine it with aluminum, it makes it as brittle as glass. But yet there it is, 3% molybdenum. And so it doesn't prove it's extraterrestrial, but
it's not normal.
It's not normal. And so that's why the investigation remains fluid.
Well, and I know I'm changing subjects, but same genre. I was watching Travis Walton's documentary about, of course, look up Fire in the Sky, and he's here, by the way.
That's right.
But I was watching his documentary a while ago, and one of the things that whatever you think of his story, the one thing that always gets me, you can't explain, when they go to that site today,
which I've been to
in
yes.
Arizona, the trees in that area aren't the same. Everything is different.
Right.
There's
the rings are different during that time period when they cut. They
this
slice
is something
a tree,
that was 50 years ago.
The rings of the tree are different.
Yeah.
From 1975 when the incident happened.
See, how do you explain that?
I know.
That's where
precisely, and that's the science.
Yeah.
Now, that's what we're always looking for, something that we can take into a lab beyond eyewitness testimony. But then we should never forget the fact that all of recorded history is based on eyewitness observation, eyewitness testimony. And then it comes down to the historians, the researchers, the investigators to determine what is accurate, what is not.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've interviewed over 600 witnesses directly or indirectly involved with this incident in 1947. And it's amazing. It's as though they're all reading from the same script, or they're simply recounting what happened. They're just describing it.
Too weird to have that many people
precisely
have
without
that
a contradiction
experience. And let's face it, all 600 people are probably people that you trust, people that, just we don't think of them as crackpots or crazy.
No. And to their very deathbeds, their very deathbeds, which are admissible in a court of law. And again, most science is to have a preconceived theory and then set out to prove it.
Sure.
There's nothing scientific about that.
Yeah.
Whereas in my case, as a skeptic, to make a full turn, to make a full 180-degree reversal in that position, what it took to do that.
Sure.
And it didn't take much, because all it required was the believability of the eyewitnesses and their descriptions of the material, the wreckage, and how consistent and how extraordinary that they described it. One of the women involved, that when she was shown a piece of the memory material, and she was a young teenage girl at the time, and she was on one of the outlying ranches, and she watched one of the ranch hands displaying this piece, and every time he would crumble it and then release his grip, it would flow like water between his fingers. And her reaction was, my God, wouldn't it be wonderful if clothes would be made of such material? I would never have to iron again. Again, a very human response, but nonetheless, it's a wonderful visual.
We all relate it in our own personal experience.
Right,
right. Absolutely. Yeah, there's that, and like I said, I've never been experienced, I've never seen anything, but there's too many people that have too many stories and too many things that corroborate to say there's something out here. There's something going on,
The universe is far too vast for us to be by ourselves
that's the other thing. And I know Don's got to go here, but all the universe is vast and huge, and to think we're the only intelligent.
Precisely.
That's very obtuse thinking.
Even that summer of 1947, the Vatican issued a statement which read, "It was the position of the church that the universe is most likely teeming with other creations." And then Pope Benedict reiterated that statement. And then he was asked, well, what would the church's reaction be when aliens first come here? We would baptize them.
Make them Christians.
Right, welcome home, brother.
What do we normally do? Well, I mean, that's what we did.
Come here and be saved.
Absolutely. Well, Don, I know you got to get to get your speaking engagement here. Please check the schedule here. Don and some other many wonderful and like all these people we're talking
great
about.
Speakers,
they're here talking about this stuff. And
full range of UFO information, morning till evening.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And Don, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
As
again.
always, thank
great.
you for keeping it, and thank you for being the ambassador for this, because I really do believe that your efforts have really kept this going.
Well,
like, especially now that we no longer have the luxury of Stan Freeman here with us
and
every
as he
year.
told me, finish it.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you. Anytime.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you and talk to you again soon. It is 9:21. We need to pause for news, quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with more here from the International UFO Museum and Research Center for the big 75th anniversary of the incident. We'll be back. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day, late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
When you're not feeling well, the last thing you want to worry about is how soon you can get in to see your healthcare provider, or even finding a provider if you don't have one. Well, now you can feel better, knowing that the Loveless Healthcare Center in Roswell offers appointments for when you're not feeling well, or for checkups, annual exams, or any chronic issues that need attention. To schedule an appointment or to find a new healthcare provider, call 575-625-3222 today.
Oh, shooters, get ready. The H.F. Sinclair Charity Freedom Clay Shoot is set for Saturday, July 16th at the Eddy County Shooting Range. Deadline to register is July 11th. 1 in 4 shooters win, with one winner drawn from each team. There's a big silent auction and fantastic prizes. A shotgun, rifles, pistols, coolers, smokers, and more. All shooters receive a gift and lunch, Friday night lights, and 5 stand shoot. Plus a cookout is optional. Register online at artesiachamber.com. All proceeds benefit local Boy Scouts and community impact programs.
When I was young, I worked with an old retired farmer in a bookstore. His job was to ship the packages out. My job was to check the packages in. We worked across from each other with a large window in between us. If I'm being completely honest, my first thought was this: there's at least a 50-year age gap between us. He's an old man from the country, and I'm a city boy full of college knowledge. What on earth are we going to talk about through this window? I've been wrong many times in my life, but this time was one of the ones that I remember the most. It turned out that old farmer had a name, a story, and most of all, a deep abiding faith in God. It took about a week for me to move from working with an old man to working with one of the wisest men I've ever met. Oddly enough, the old farmer, with hardly any education, came to be my greatest teacher and mentor, surpassing every professor in college. He didn't have a PhD, he didn't serve as a minister at a church, and he certainly wasn't a great orator. But what he did have was a wealth of wisdom. Wisdom gained from life experience and a life walked with God. At 20 years old, that was just the textbook that I needed to be reading, or in this case, listening to.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Celebrate this 4th of July with a splash at the ENMUR Pool. Join them for a pool party from 11 to 4 on Monday, July 4th. Come enjoy concessions, live music, and lots of time in the pool. Families up to 5 get in for just $20 or just $5 per person. Active and retired military are free. Entry includes a pulled pork sandwich, chips, and watermelon. Cool off this 4th of July at the ENMUR Pool on the ENMUR campus at 20 West Martin in Roswell.
This July, Roswell becomes Ground Zero.
I'm Clyde Lewis, and you're listening to Ground Zero.
The International UFO Museum and Research Center, in conjunction with Roswell's Talk FM, are bringing nationally syndicated radio show host Clyde Lewis to Roswell for the 2022 UFO Festival. Clyde will be broadcasting his show Ground Zero live from the International UFO Museum on Friday, July 1st from 8 to 11 p.m. Join Clyde as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Roswell incident. The truth is out there.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're broadcasting live here from the International UFO Museum and Research Center as the UFO Festival officially underway. Things are opening and hopping here at the museum. They have officially opened the doors to the public here at 9 a.m., and there's been a steady line of folks moving in and out since then. Joining us here in our UFO Festival studios here is Mark Chesney, who's a UFO researcher, former NASA employee as well
yes,
here.
yes.
Thanks for joining us here this morning, sir.
It's hard to follow Don Schmidt, but I'll do my best.
I apologize. You had a big lead in there. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal there. But you've worked with Don for many years as well,
I worked with
too.
Don. Don and I both used to work for Dr. J. Allen Hynek at Northwestern University, who also was the Air Force main consultant for Project Blue Book back through the end of the 60s. So I met Don through Dr. Hynek about 40 years ago.
And then the rest is kind of just history there.
Sort of, yeah. And then in '89, Don and his colleague Kevin Randall came here. Ostensibly, they were going to do a story about how the Roswell thing was kind of crazy and exaggerated. There was literally nothing to it. That was the intention.
Okay,
but
obviously, kind of to downplay it.
Set out for skepticism. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a debunking thing basically because it's like, well, we're serious researchers, so nothing could have happened. Well, it seems like something did, and so in in 30 years ago, in like 91 or so, I was working at NASA. I was at NASA in Houston. I was working space shuttle safety engineering kind of stuff.
Okay.
But that's relatively close. And Southwest Airlines was so inexpensive back then that I would come here on weekends like 3 times a month and meet Don and Kevin and go interview. Everybody was still around then. Walter Hout, Glenn Dennis, Frank Kaufman. They were all around.
Okay.
So we would, we were the first contact people where they would talk and
So for you, like in your, it was almost like the team, the group, the research group there, the team.
Right. Yeah.
So with NASA, was yours kind of on the your perspective? Was it an engineering perspective?
Yes.
On a lot of
yeah. I'm an engineer. I'm an airospace engineer.
Gotcha. So you're looking at it evidence-wise from that engineering
nuts and
side.
bolts. Yeah. What inspired me was, if you remember way back to 1969, the first person on the moon was Neil Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Purdue engineer, so I went to Purdue because of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
That was the motivation.
Yeah.
So very cool. So like you said, and like Don said, it's all coming from a place of skepticism.
Yes.
And so what was it? Was it a gradual, like as you're digging and finding different things that you can't explain? Is that? Or was it a light bulb like from no to yes?
No, I think it was more gradual.
Okay.
Everybody initially, the core group, we're all connected to Dr. Hynek, and we've known Dr. Hynek. Now, Hynek died in '85 of brain cancer, unfortunately. But we had been connected before that because there still exists. It's called the Center for UFO Studies. It's in Chicago.
Okay.
And we were all affiliated with the Center for UFO Studies. And some were science people, some were, I was an engineer, different areas of expertise, but everybody was interested in this kind of stuff. So we started to come down here, and it was like, oh, that can't be true, because I think the first, I think, was a Charles Berlitz book about the crash at Roswell, which I think came out in maybe 1980 or so.
Okay.
I think it was 80 because I was doing some corporate training out in the East Coast, and his book had just come out. It was already remaindered for like $1. So I bought it because I had nothing to do.
Right.
So, and because of that book, it's like, well, that's so extreme that photos of bodies, So we thought, well, this will be easy.
Sure.
It wasn't easy. I mean, something definitely happened here. It definitely happened here. In the 90s. We authored a number of articles in the Center for UFO Studies publications was called the International UFO Reporter, IUR, because the Air Force and the government they released Air Force released 2 studies about the Roswell crash, and they kept changing their explanation. And the General Accounting Office released a study too, all in the early 90s. So we wrote articles debunking it because, it's been a number of years, but the initial Air Force response was like, well, it was a weather balloon, a mogul balloon, which really wasn't weather. It was a high-altitude nuclear test eavesdropping thing to listen to Russian tests.
Soviets, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that lasted for like a year and a half. It was a weather balloon because they had pictures, because they were launched from El Magordo. So
there was some plausibility to that.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, there's so much aerospace and NASA stuff here, White Sands,
Yeah, there's all kind of secret squirrel stuff going on out in
right,
in the deserts of New
and also
Mexico.
real development stuff too.
Yeah.
So we wrote rebuttals to that, and within 2 years, the Air Force responded and go, oh wait, we're sorry, we don't balloons. That's when they did I think there's expeditions here, the whole dummy drop thing, and this was 47 when this event. Everybody knows what happened in July of 47 because it was in international newspaper, so it's established. So what the Air Force was doing, because they do human factors, they do aeronautical physiology kind of stuff. And so they wanted to see, well, when guys jump out of airplanes really high, what are the effect on their body? Or jump off of, because they were using observational balloons after World War II. So they dropped a bunch of dummies in the desert, which they did, and there's photos of that. But that was like 4 years after Roswell. So the Air Force's explanation, they had all these photos of these I think there's photos in the museum here of Air Force enlisted person with arms around the dummy kind of thing.
Yeah. I think at one point we had some of the dummies here. I'm not sure.
I think there was.
They were on loan for a little bit.
Last time I was here in Roswell was in 2001, so it's been a while. But I spent a lot of time here in the 90s. Well, So the Air Force, we pointed out in an article, the Air Force, these dummies, you did do this, but you did this 4 years after Roswell. So how could you? This was a government publication, the Congressional Printing Office kind of document, and their explanation was, well, we have this new idea. It was like a time dilation, false memory. It was like something from Star Trek. So it was like, well, what happened was people saw the dummies 4 years later, but they forgot when they saw it. So that's what they think they saw. It's like, that's just dumb. That doesn't happen.
There's people who know the delineation in the timeline that are still here.
Yeah.
And if you take your own memories, time does skew details sometimes.
Yeah, but not major events, though. You don't.
Yeah. So I can see how people may misremember time periods and things.
Yeah, I mean, like my mother finally died. She was like 98, right before the pandemic started. Right before it started. She didn't die during it or after, and I remember that because it was an event.
Sure.
So,
but the fact that they kept changing the story does not give credence to any of their stories. And that's where you're thinking, okay.
Well, it's like dealing with
it smells
Common.
like you're covering up something.
Yeah, like Common. You keep changing the story. What's the story?
Right.
And then in the middle of this, the local congressman was a guy named Schiff, I believe, here. So he had the General Accounting Office do an investigation into records, because that's what they can do. They love funding and records and how the government's run for the whole Roswell event. And the GAO published a report. They did all sorts of searching. They couldn't find any records. The records were destroyed. Now, was it done intentionally? Was it done accidentally? Isn't it clearing out? I know there was a fire in St. Louis at some sort of records facility back in the late 40s. But everything that they had published, it would have been better for the Air Force and the government to not publish anything.
Just shut up.
Right, because
is more in this case.
It's a crazy story. I mean, I'm an engineer. I'm a hard science guy, and so I would come out here and talk to people, and I'd go back to work, and back in Houston, I'd think about stuff, and I'd go, well, could this make any sense? Is this true?
Right.
And in the public's mind, Roswell was a historical note, was gone. It was even after the Berlitz book. That book went remainder in like a month. So nobody ever thought about it. But Don and Kevin started. This was after Don Schmidt and Kevin Randall's first book was published. That's when they had to start
the research. The
very first book. But they could have kept quiet, because you know how people are. People are because of social media. We're different today. We're very distractible, but people were distractible back then. So Don and Kevin's first couple books. First one was, I think, 89 or 90. Second was, I think, 94. And the 194 was a hardcover, that was pretty good for UFO books, because mostly they're paperback. And they could have just said, there's nothing to it, and it would have went away. But they had to publish 2 reports. I mean, that's the best evidence I have that something definitely happened. Because they spent a lot of our tax money investigating this, and they published 2 knowingly spurious reports. And I think the very first one with the balloons, with the mogul balloon thing, the Air Force officer that was in charge of it, I don't remember his name right now, he was an Air Force counterintelligence guy. He was a disinformation guy, and they gave it to him. It's like, well, why do you think?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So,
do you think ever they'll turn to whatever details the government has, they'll turn them, make them public?
We had many conversations up in the Chicago area at the old Center for UFO Studies office. The problem is, with intelligence, with any intelligence thing, it always boils down not to just clearance, but really to need to know.
Sure.
So, if there's some, say, issue with like submarines, like Soviet submarines, Russian submarines and U.S. submarines, there's levels to classification if there's an accident.
Yeah.
There's all these classification levels. There's so many levels. I used to have a clearance. It's mind-boggling.
I know exactly. I was in the Air Force. I was.
I was Air Force ROTC originally.
Okay.
So,
I was a bomb loader on the 117s at Holloman.
Oh, okay.
So I had to have secret clearance to work that
Nighthawks,
plane. But that got me into certain levels. But then there was other rooms they'd laugh at you.
But ultimately, it's the need to know.
It does seem like there's a lot more credence being lent to it lately, a lot more attention being put on it with a lot more congressional hearings. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the name Mark Hoppus. He was actually a former singer for the band Blink-182.
Yes.
He has a fascination with UFOs and extraterrestrials, and so he spearheaded an effort to kind of bring research to the forefront and kind of like out into the mainstream, and a lot more eyes have been on it, a lot more people have been talking about it. And I feel like that maybe is we're closer than ever to maybe some relevance being lent to it.
It's right, but again, going back to need to know, which is how intelligence is run in all governments. It's ultimately need to know. So like in a submarine incident with the Russians, ultimately the need to know is they wouldn't tell the president, even though he's cleared for it,
right?
Because he may not actually have a need to know.
Exactly.
I mean, and people don't understand it because intelligence isn't like here's my badge, here's my pass.
Right.
It's not that. It's like
just because a level of security gives you authorization to a certain level,
you have to have a need to know.
Doesn't mean you get access to said information.
And so, whatever we're dealing with, something happened in Roswell, and it wasn't mundane. Mundane is a word that means earthly, literally.
Absolutely.
You know, back in the 80s, people wrote books about UFOs, and they called them extra mundane. It's like you look it up, that just means extra earthly. It's like, come on. They would have moved it around. So wherever the files were or are, they'd be moved somewhere else.
Sure.
And they might. Who knows? Where's a safe place to move them? I don't know. The Federal Drug Administration, maybe. OSHA. You know. Because it's just files. It's just boxes with stuff.
Sure.
And
sitting in a room somewhere.
So, at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Some top men are handling it.
Yeah, top men.
Which this lends, the argument to, well, we need to start digitizing a lot of these files that are susceptible to fires, to thefts, to just damage over time. I think it's time to start turning our attention, maybe taking what we have on paper and putting it in maybe the cloud or someplace that is better protected.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think it was Spielberg's first major film was Jaws, which was a scare film, and second film was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which had a cameo from Professor J. Allen Hynek because it was based on a chapter in his UFO book, his first book about UFOs,
which gives that credence to the scary factor that it's
right. Well, okay,
it's true.
So this was in the middle '70s, so I was still going to Purdue, but I was volunteering at the Center for Studies with Hynek. I was kind of Hynek's volunteer research assistant, because he knew I was an engineer and is very technical. So he's like, here, let you go through the files and find stuff. So, and we had board meetings because it was an organization, and so Hynek came in one day, goes, "Oh, this is great. I heard from Spielberg, and he wants to make a movie about Close Encounters of the Third Kind." And up to that point, all he had ever done was Jaws. And so I raised my hand. I said, "Alan, don't do that." I said, "I admit him. No, I was wrong. Don't do this. Don't do that." I said, "All he ever makes is scary movies. This is going to scare people about UFOs, But luckily, he ignored me because he was way more. He was older than me. He's very, very, very mature. And he even has a cameo in the end of Close Encounters where he comes out, pulls out a pipe, which he was doing all the time in meetings. He'd pull out a pipe and try to light it and forget about it and put it back. And he came out to look at the little aliens. But I mean, even Spielberg had a real good sense for like how secrecy really is run.
Sure.
The whole best men thing,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole I forget what the name of the landing site was in Close Encounters. Behind Devil's Tower. So Beyond the Rainbow or something like that.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank too.
But I mean, it still sticks with me when I first saw that movie. When the government decides, well, they got that signal and it's going to say go to Devil's Tower. So what the first thing they show you, they're taking like postal vans, Piggly Wiggly, some trucks, and they're sending all supplies out to Devil's Tower in conventional trucks. Because nobody would think of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not sending missile launchers. No, they're supposed to send Piggly Wiggly grocery trucks this way.
Whatever looks normal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or remember in Close Encounters they gassed all those sheep. And they told everybody there was a pandemic. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's not the first time we've seen that.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of full circle moments.
Right?
Yeah.
We're running out of time here, and I know you got to. What are you going to be guest speaking at any of the different?
I'm going to be some of the panels with Don and the next guest, Tom Carey.
Yes.
And I've known Don for 40 years. I've known Tom Carey for maybe 32 years.
Okay.
I've been here. back in the early 90s, I'd come here from Houston, meet Don here, meet Kevin Randall here, and meet Tom Carey here. Then we drive around. But all the witnesses are still around, which it was mind-blowing.
It's kind of nice. You get to kind of,
yeah.
It's like riding with the
have
boys.
That availability.
Yeah. Crew kind of.
And I was working at NASA, and I had an important job because we were trying to keep the space shuttle safe, after the first explosion. And I was high profile, and I got awards, and so I was real quiet about what I was doing. I just told my friends, I'll be back Monday, because even though if you saw in the news, I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, NASA announced they're going to do UFO studies.
Yeah.
There's some foundation, I looked into it a little bit, there's some foundation out of New York called the Simons Foundation, some family. And the head of the thing, he's an ex-astrophysicist. His name he's a retired astrophysicist. I think his name is Spengel or something like that.
Okay.
He's a legitimate guy. He's an accomplished astrophysicist, but he doesn't know anything about UFOs. So they've moved the study to them, and I saw he gave an interview. He goes, well, I'm going to get my best people on it. It's going to start in September, and it's going to go for 9 months, and it's only going to cost the government $100,000. I mean,
it's cheap in government terms.
That's like no. I mean, I'm an aerospace engineer. You can't get one engineer for $100,000. So that's so. And they made a point of saying, well, we're not going to get anybody who knows anything about UFOs because we want to be prejudiced. So it's just nothing's going to happen from it.
Right.
I think it's a response. I mean, I have no proof, but it's a response for all this pressure from the government and the media. Like, well, they got to do something. Like, well, here it looks like it's like a mini.
They're
Blue
making
Book.
an effort, but as little effort as they possibly can.
Yeah, it's like a Blue Book. They made an effort. I mean, really, Hynek used to complain about Blue Book. We knew him after Blue Book, but all the time, like they weren't that serious. Depending on who was directing on the Air Force side of it, who the colonel was. So, the last guy. He would just spend all his time in his office at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base looking at stock portfolio things because he was retiring. So it's like,
he's looking for a paycheck and not.
Well, that's life.
That's life in general.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you taking some time here to talk
with
us. And
yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for putting me after Don Schmidt, the Mr. Personality, the mayor of Roswell. Yes.
Yes. I jokingly call him the godfather of UFOlogy. That's kind of my unofficial moniker.
He'll
for
take
him.
it. He'll take it.
But thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll and look forward to talking to you down the road and more stuff here.
Right,
soon,
thank you.
too.
Thank you.
Good deal. All right, it is 9:44. We're going to pause for a quick break, and then we do have Tom Carey. We're going to be joining him. He's going to join us next here. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters live from the UFO Museum and Research Center for UFO Festival. We'll be back.
Cirillo, thanks for joining us. Our top story, Roswell police have identified a man believed to be responsible for a string of burglaries of cars in the past week. An arrest was made Wednesday, and now police are asking for some help in building their case. Anyone who was recently victimized by having their vehicle broken into with items stolen or rummaged through is asked to call Roswell Police at 575-624-6770 to report the incident if you have not done so already. Police are also looking for any video surveillance that might be useful. A Ruidoso man has been ordered to serve 25 years in prison for a January 2021 killing. 27-year-old Travis Hoyle was involved in a gathering at a home in that city when he used a sawed-off shotgun to shoot and kill Nathaniel Chi. Hoyle then stole someone's truck to flee the scene. He was captured after a high-speed pursuit with police later that morning. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
When pressed on whether the Secret Service members would speak on the growing narrative discrepancies that are out there in witness testimonies, she said that the committee has previously spoken to Mr. Ornato and Mr. Engel, and we welcome additional testimony under oath from both of them and from anybody else in the Secret Service who has information about any of these issues. Pressed on whether that testimony from the Secret Service would be given live, like in the case of Cassidy Hutchinson, she had an interesting answer. We've been working with the Secret Service. We've interviewed, as I said, a number of individuals in the Secret Service. We will continue to do so. It is important that their testimony is under oath. That wasn't the question.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
All right, this Independence Day, you can celebrate freedom by completely customizing your window treatments any way you want at Blinds.com. Right now, save up to 50% off site-wide during their 4th of July sale. Blinds.com has the latest styles of curtains and shades and shutters and much more. And they also offer professional design consultation and installation services. So shop Blinds.com for 4th of July savings right now through the 5th and save up to 50% off site-wide. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. It looks like that moist air coming in from the monsoon will be sliding our way by tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. Sunny and hot today, though. We'll be in the upper 90s. Overnight, a few clouds down to 70, and then sunny and hot on Saturday with upper 90s. Maybe an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. We're expecting highs in the mid-90s Sunday and Independence Day. Late day showers possible. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
75 years ago, something happened in Roswell. The International UFO Museum and Research Center is marking the 75th anniversary of the Roswell incident by giving away $75 cash each hour during the UFO Museum's Ufologists Invasion. Join the July 1st through the 3rd at the International UFO Museum and Research Center for amazing events and guest speakers. And every hour, they'll give away $75 cash to one lucky guest. Check out RoswellUFOmuseum.com for a complete lineup of events, speakers, and hours of operation. And join them in person for your chance to win $75 cash. And don't forget to be there Friday, July 1st at 8 p.m. as the UFO Museum and Research Center and 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM present nationally syndicated radio host Clyde Lewis as he broadcasts his show live from the UFO Museum at 114 North Main in Roswell. The International UFO Museum and Research Center. It's otherworldly.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The Goodyear Rubber Company researched and concluded that shoes wear out faster on the right foot than on the left. To fix this, just walk backwards for half the day. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 49 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're broadcasting live here from the International UFO Museum and Research Center as it is day one of the UFO Festival. And joining us in our UFO Festival studio here this morning is Tom Carey, former Air Force veteran and also director of the Mutual UFO Network for Southeast Pennsylvania and a UFOologist, joining us as well this morning.
Nice to be with you this morning.
Thanks for spending a few minutes here
My
with
pleasure.
us. As we were talking here before, you've worked Don Schmidt. We were talking earlier, and of course he's now that Stanton Freeman's no longer with us, now probably the most living authority on some of this stuff here.
Well, he certainly, Stan was a good friend of ours, and he is, without question, the father of Roswell because he made the first call that opened the civilian investigation of this case back in 1978 when he called up Jesse Marcel
yes,
on the telephone and questioned him about the case. That was the beginning of why we're here.
That kind of started this where we're sitting at today here.
Yes.
So I've got to ask you, how did you find yourself involved in investigating the Roswell incident?
That's a good question. It actually started when I read the first book called The Roswell Incident back in 1980. Which was based on Stan Friedman's research and a friend of his, co-author William Moore. After they interviewed Marcel, they interviewed a number of people, and 2 years later, the first Roswell book came out, The Roswell Incident. It blew me away. It blew me away because it was not talking about lights in the sky and things like that. It was a nuts and bolts case of a crashed ship with little people. That's what the people here in Roswell. The story went around in 20 minutes, and then they said, "Oh, there's little people involved," and that's how I got interested. I started with Randall and Schmidt.
Okay.
In 1991, Kevin and Don were reopening the Roswell case after 10 years. It was 10 years after the first book, and I called up Kevin because I have a background in archaeology and paleontology, and I said, "What have you done with the alleged archaeologist who discovered the crash?" He said, "Well, we interviewed a few, but nothing really." I said, "Look, I have a background in that. These archaeologists, allegedly, according to the story, came from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, where I lived. I said, let me have a crack at trying to track them down." Okay. And that's how I became involved. I stayed involved with them, and Randall left the team in 1995. Don and I wanted to keep a proactive investigation of the case going. So in 1998, Don and I hooked up to do that proactive investigation, and it continues until this very day.
And to me, that's where I think most of the science side of this investigation lies is in the dirt, so to speak, right. Because they've pulled materials and substances and different things that
combination of alloys that
shouldn't be there. That
right.
should, you know what I mean? It's things that they can't explain why they're sitting in the middle of the desert, New Mexico.
Right.
And to me, that's the strongest evidence of, something happened. Whether you think it's a disc or whatever it is, how do you answer that question?
Certainly not a weather balloon.
Yeah. Right. Certainly something that's not of normal nature that happened there.
Yes. We have interviewed over 600 first and second-hand witnesses that all point to an extraterrestrial event. Not a weather balloon, not a Project Mogul high-altitude balloon. No one ever described that. They described a nuts and bolts ship, or pieces of it, and little people that we now call aliens or grays or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious where, and again, this is kind of taking cases and comparing, where you look at the Travis Walton case in Arizona, and you go to that crash site here 50 years later, and you can see anomalies there, the trees, the heights, the rib. Right. Are we seeing any kind of those anomalies out in Corona there? Where is there any?
New Mexico has always been a fertile ground for UFO reports.
Gotcha.
We can only speculate as to why, and the speculation surrounds the nuclear experiments, like at Los Alamos, Sandia Labs, the Alamogordo Trinity site where the first atomic bomb was detonated, and right here in Roswell, the 509th Bomb Group in 1947 was the only nuclear-tipped air defense corps.
Boxcar and Enola Gay, both two famous nuclear dropping
509th.
Yeah,
509th.
Roswell, they shoot some dirt here.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does. So it does make sense.
So speculating that's as good as we have because of all of the research that's going on. Also, back right after World War II, the V-2 rockets that were captured from the Germans and launched at White Sands. That's another, you got these rockets going off, you got nuclear explosions and all that sort of stuff going on. And
plus, I would imagine, too, that the fertile, the low, that was up in the mountains in Arizona in the woods, where this was in the middle of the desert. There's a lot more visual evidence there than looking at some rocks and dirt in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely. You can see for miles.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, that stuff's really, to me, that's the part that people can sit there and say whatever you believe, not believe, but when you start explaining and showing, like, this is an element that was found there that we have no reason how it got there, and there's no normal explanation for it to be here. how do we explain that?
Yes, we can only explain because we don't have a piece of physical evidence yet. We do not. That's the only thing the case is missing, is a piece of physical evidence. We know it's out there.
Yeah, it's just
we know some rancher out there has
sitting under someone's bed
somewhere,
somewhere,
underneath a flower pot, something like that.
In a tarp under some blankets in the back of a shed somewhere. Yeah.
And you always hear those stories of families sitting on something like that, and it turns out to be an old wives' tale or.
We're looking
something.
for that holy grail of Roswell, which is a piece of that memory metal.
Right.
We know it's out there, folks. Please come forward.
Yeah.
If you have a piece.
Bring it by the museum here today. Well,
yes.
Are you going to be, I'm sure you'll be doing some of the panel discussions and things.
Absolutely.
Over the course of the next couple days here at the UFO Festival.
Don and I will be doing 2 hour-and-a-half presentations. Okay. We each will be doing, I'll be doing 2 mini presentations. Don will be doing 3. We're both participating in 2 2-hour panel discussions.
Very good. I always like to tell people there's several different ways. Of course, go to the UFO Museum's website. You can go to the UFOfestival.com, and that's got the schedule for everything, including the panel speakers here that either be here at the museum in the North Library or some of the other rooms here, or over at the Convention and Civic Center. They've got that's about half filled with the Galacticon, and the other half's rooms for panel speakers and things like that. So there's a lot going on. Please get that schedule. That way you can come and see when Tom's speaking, or when Don's speaking, or Travis is speaking, or many of the other. There is a few folks that
a potpourri of speakers,
and there is some folks that really I've just drawn a blank on a bunch, but off the top of my head, there's a few names that you see each and every time that are just an absolute part of it. Yvonne Smith, Travis Walton, of course, we were just talking about him earlier. Of course, our own Clyde Lewis is going to be doing his show tonight out here on the radio. But all of these folks are, of course, Dennis is another local that speaks a lot of not just UFO history, but Roswell history too. So it's pretty neat stuff. So. But Tom, we do appreciate you spending a few minutes here.
My pleasure.
And keep digging, literally.
Yeah. It's out there. We'll find it.
Keep digging. We're gonna find it, and
it's out there.
Yeah,
it's out there.
And it'll. I think it's gonna be a crazy moment when we get that final piece of evidence that says, yeah, this is what it did.
It will probably be brought here. It will probably. And if it does happen, we will have a press conference here.
Nice.
World as we know it will be totally different
That's
from
true.
there. So
True.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Have a great festival. Stay cool.
Thank you.
Stay inside.
All right. That's going to do our broadcast from here at the UFO Festival. Yep. No morning show on Monday because of July 4th. Right. Happy 4th of July weekend to everybody here. Again, UFOfestival.com. You'll find everything you need
See
there.
Roswell app.
Absolutely. Have a great day. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.
See you.